What's up, everybody? It's Gillette tea time, and welcome back. I know we've been gone for a little while. Some holidays and some things been going on, so we were just teasing the season to be jolly. But we're back. We're here. We're not here on our original day. We're here on a Thursday, but we're normally here on Wednesdays and sometimes on Sundays. But hey, we're here. What's up? So I have some guests with me. I have some new people. So we're about to see what it's given and what the pop given. But let me rank up my guests and my co-hosts.
Hey sis, how's it going, everybody?
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
Hey, I am the icon Gunna. Tishi, community activist, nigga with a loud mouth, brand ambassador, just all around asshole and lover of the community.
Oh wow. What's up, Sasha?
What's up? Happy holidays. My name is self-explanatory.
Yes. We're missing a few people. They're on vacation. They already started out in the process and they're already on vacation, so that's fine. But we're here. We have a new person that we're trying to bring to the cast. She's very like vocal. She's very, the things, and the I am the ones and the ones. She's very, very dedicated to the Kiki scene. She's very dedicated to the scene itself. She's very knowledgeable about what she speaks. She's very opinionated, and
We love that here.
I'm gonna blame her. We love that here. Demi, what's the tea?
Hey, what's the tea? Hey, everybody, what's going on?
Yeah, so welcome to tea time.
Well,
Welcome.
thank you. I really appreciate you guys for having me. I really do.
I'm loving the
Hey,
hair color.
tell us a little
Thank
bit about
you.
yourself. Number one, tell us where you're from, because that is not a New York backdrop apartment I see.
Oh no,
Ooh.
not at all. Well, first of all, I let me do my tagline so y'all all will know it. I am, the thing of the things, and nothing in between. I'm definitely the girl in the motherfucking picture, better than the one that's with you, and you already know my vibe. I'm originally from North Carolina. I now reside in New Jersey. South Jersey to be exact. But I'm originally from North Carolina. I am a Orichi in the main scene, and I am a bodega in the Kiki scene. Yeah, that's me, for real. Yeah.
Oh, that was nice in a nutshell. I like that. So,
I'm
welcome
going to
to
bring me
tea.
some Tishis over here. It gets real Orichi heavy on the panels a lot.
I mean, well, you're welcome to bring a tea sheet. We love the tea sheets, duh.
Duh, Orichi duh.
Yeah, so we've been away for a couple of episodes. We are totally sorry, but we're gonna keep the consistency up. Like I said, some of our cast members they're on vacation still, as they should. It's the holidays, and that's fine. So we're still gonna keep the show going. As y'all see this big 24 behind me, us Capricorns, you know how we are. We're very gotta let you know. So
Absolutely.
there's 24 more days to my birthday.
Come on, it's Capricorns in the building.
Y'all
I
panic.
can smell the Capricorn in the air.
I
Yeah.
can too.
Oh, wait, that's my marijuana.
Ah! Yeah, so it's 24 more days to my birthday. I'm so excited. I always do a countdown for my birthday. Either you counting down with me or you against me. I don't care. Tomorrow will be 23 days. So here we are today. But we also have another guest here. I always try to bring some masculine energy into the table. He did a great job last night. I had fun last night, Gunna. How'd you feel?
I had a fucking blast.
Yeah.
Okay. But I don't want to get into it. We'll wait till he gets up here to get into it.
Yes. And yesterday, everyone, if you did not know, yesterday was World AIDS Day. If you were not out, if you didn't get tested, you still have time because we extend World AIDS Day for like all the way for like 2 weeks. World AIDS Day is a day of, knowing your status, remembering loved ones that may have passed away from the HIV/AIDS epidemic, and also uplifting the ones that may be still living with HIV, and also encouraging the ones that may be at high risk of living with HIV or high risk of contracting HIV. So we celebrate that day every day, December 1st. We call it World AIDS Day. There's a lot of events that happen, and like I said, sometimes they extend over time. But just go out, get tested, and know your status is very, very important.
A little bit of history, real quick. Snippet. I brought this up at the ball last night. It was 40 years ago this year that the first test or first positive test for HIV started to pop up around the country, in New York and in California. And then within 7.5, 8 years, we were, thanks in part to New York and a lot of activism work in New York, which included ballroom walkers. We had the first World's AIDS Day within 7 to 8 years from the first diagnosis. So, we have always been at the forefront of this epidemic, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, when it comes to the LGBT and the black and brown ballroom community. So here we are in 2021, still fighting the good fight, so that we can live, love, and be merry.
Yes, yes. So also we were
Happily.
not here for Trans Day Remembrance, and we love our sisters here. So we're gonna also just have a brief moment of silence for Trans Day Remembrance because we were not here for that day. So just a quick brief moment. All right. So yes. So and happy belated Thanksgiving as well. Also. So enough about me running
Happy
my.
Hanukkah.
Happy,
All kind of holidays right
yeah,
now.
it's
Hanukkahs and
holidays. It's just the season to be jolly, honey.
tis the
Yes, it
season.
is.
All right,
And
so
tis the season to spill the tea. Let's get to it.
yeah, so without further ado, here he comes, the one and only the NYC Prince Isaac Chanel. Hello, sir.
You
Hello.
into it? Yeah.
Hello to the man who integrated LeBang with the ballroom scene.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me today. I appreciate it.
Yes, the room is given seductive, red with black.
Yes, I was told by I got a reading not too long ago, and they told me that my ancestors told me to stay in red light at all times. So
Yes.
that's what I do.
It promotes love and
That-
it brings love.
Thank you.
Real love.
Real love.
Not the
So,
fake shit.
I'm searching for one, a real love.
Okay.
Come on, Mary
Okay.
J. Blige.
all right, so you did your big one last night.
Yeah, I'm still overwhelmed. I haven't been able to take everything in just yet. I'm still like processing everything. But I thank everyone that came out and supported the cause. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to all of the judges that came out. Special shout out to Gunner, thanks for being a part of this as well. Yo Yo, Tishi, who else? Julius Caesar, and especially thank you to LeBain for trusting me with this and making sure that we got out there. And also the center. The center was definitely a big part of this as well.
All right, but since some of us that don't know, what happened at Levain last night?
Well, yes, go ahead and tell us what happened. And also, how did you come up with this idea? Like, what was the birth of this
Yeah.
brainchild?
Okay, so what happened yesterday is we had the first, well, let's just be clear that history was made yesterday. I don't think a lot of people are understanding what coming to this event did. It wasn't just an event, just a basic ball. We actually created history. There has never been a ball done ever in that space before, and that was the first ball. So again, I appreciate everyone that came out. Um, basically, I've been working at LeBain for about 3. When I started working during my interview, I got hired on the spot. One of the managers, he's actually in and he knows about ballroom. So when I told him that I was a part of the iconic House of Chanel, he got ecstatic and he decided to bring me on as one of the servers there. So every day I come to work, every night, it's Monday through Saturday, there's different types of crowds. You may have a crowd that likes, just house music, and then you may have a crowd that likes Afro beats. So on Wednesdays, the day that came, that was called Dance Dance Dance. That's something that they had on Wednesday. And they play Afro beats, as you saw, reggae beats. And all of the dancers just come out and they feel it. Like it's this energy that just takes over the whole entire building. You just see everyone just in their zone, just music and just going off. So one day when I was working the event, I just got out in the middle and I just started dancing. I just started, giving a little 1-2. And they don't really have many people voguing out there. It's everybody doing their Afro beats. and just the circle just crowded around me. Everybody pulled out their phone and started recording me while I was voguing. Mind you, I was working at the time, and ever since then, I just kept thinking like, damn, bitch, if we threw a ball here, that would be fab. Like that would just set it off. And I thought, what would be a dope idea to merge the two, merging the dance community and merging the ballroom with each other. And that's what we did yesterday. We brought out the community, we brought out the ballroom girls, merged it together. You know, we take some of their moves, they take some of our moves. So let's put it together and let's create some crazy shit. So I spoke with the people from Everyday People, from Dance Dance Dance. We decided to get this event going. Julius Caesar, as I mentioned him earlier, he's one of the hosts at the door. He decided to go through with the ball as well. We spoke with all of the corporate people, and it was like, just go ahead and do it. Shout out to Marquise Foster. I'm kind of hesitant on even doing this ball. And then he told me, December 1st is World AIDS Day. And I thought, like, come on, y'all, that's the perfect fucking day to do it. So we organized everything, got the ball rolling, and you saw what we yesterday.
And you
Yes, and
did
shout
your
out to
big
Marquise
one.
Foster. He has his monochromatic coming up this Saturday at LeBain. So basically, Ballroom is doing what we've always done in the last 40 years. We are infiltrating spaces and making ourselves known to show that we are here. Congratulations, Isaac. It was an amazing night. You mentioned that you brought the ballroom girls with the dance world. Not only did you bring out the ballroom girls, you brought out some of the girls.
Yes.
Yes, you did.
Yes. I think that, one thing that I've realized, I've been in ballroom for 3 to 4 years now, and it's about keeping, good relationships with people. It's okay to be shady. We could be shady on the floor and all that stuff, but outside of ballroom, I'm a businessman and I like to harness on to my relationships. I work with you, Gunner. I work with you, Gillette. I love to keep those relationships going. So these people that you've seen on the panel, these are people that I have good rapport for. So when I asked them to do a ball, to judge on the panel, it wasn't nothing but a yes. Like everyone that you saw there, from the sponsors, the media, just everyone just immediately said yes when I hit them up. Yeah, it's the people that came, especially one particular person that I was not expecting to come. She hit me up at the last minute, the icon Leomi Amazon, and she told me that she was going to come and support me for this ball. And that just literally just threw me over the roof, because it was just, to have that star-studded woman in there was just amazing. So yeah, we definitely had some people, Giselle, like I could go down the list, but we had some people in the building.
I mean, I'll go down the list a little bit. Like you had Laomi, you had Giselle, you had the icon Thaddeus, you had the reemergence of J Lo Allure, who has been asked to Vogue for over a decade now, and she just has not been voguing. You had RR, you had Alvernian.
I
Go
have
ahead.
that. So the gag is, I'm still new to ballroom, so I'm still trying to figure out who everyone is. And definitely, if I apologize if I don't know who you are, if you had a ball and I walk past you, I'm still learning who the icons and legends are. And I did not know. I know J Lo from years ago from an ex that I was with. I didn't know J Lo Vogue. So I'm sitting on the side of this,
Vogues.
and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Hold on. And I see everybody just going off, and I had to go over. I'm like, you never told me you Vogue, and you Vogue like that. So that was a major, major, major surprise for me. And I have to thank that for that. That was amazing.
Yeah, J Lo. Just for people that don't know a little bit, I don't know all of J Lo's history, but J Lo's one of those girls from the Midwest. When you talk about that era of the height of rags to riches, and when the Midwest was really at the height of its game, in that early 2000 era, it was the J Lo's, it was Milan, it was Skittles. Like there were certain girls that were just the girls of that era, and J Lo's one of those. And then probably about a decade, maybe a little less than a decade, she was just kind of done with ballroom. But she's one of those truly soft and cunt,
Mm-hmm.
right? A lot of people are cunt, but they're not soft. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are soft, but they're not cunt. She's truly soft and cunt. She represents the Midwest. She represents her bloodline, Thaddeus, very well. So that, I mean, even if you guys see the playback, I think she's probably one of the few people that I really just stood up for, and it was so crazy because, there were other people like newer judges and stuff like my nephew and them to the right of me, and they were like, Uncle, who is that? And I felt them tapping me, and I knew I wanted to answer the question, but I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to see her vote again, so I'm not taking my eyes off of her. I will answer your question when she's done. Like, it was
Okay.
just that amazing, to have her come out, to have Naomi grace the floor, to have RR there, to have Alberni in there, for your first ball for World AIDS Day, for what it stood for. Just kudos and congratulations, man. I see a lot. You keep up this rapport, you keep up with what you're doing. I see a lot of good ballroom stuff in your future. So let's talk about the Prince thing. Was
Yes.
this new? I mean, I can't because we have a separate rapport, so I'll act like we never have our conversation. So let me just ask questions. So is this like something new? What's going on with the House of Chanel? I see there's a father here. You guys are walking fashion categories and face categories and body categories, and you're coming out like Chanel is doing a nice little revamp. Come on, give us a little inside tea about this.
So being of the new generation, I'm all about media. I'm all about you all know that I'm a photographer, so I'm all about the aesthetic and how things look. So starting with the New York City chapter, that's one thing that we're about right now is our aesthetic, what we bring out, not just sending anyone out. This is the New York. New York is our birthplace, and this is where the House of Chanel was started, from the pioneer, or Chanel. In terms of my Prince title, I was one of the only Chanels that was in New York City for about 3 to 4 years, and I was making sure that I stood fast. A lot of people have the tendency to get with a house and they see that they're not having any people on the side screaming their house name, or they don't have anybody to do their effects, or they don't, feel like they have that support. I'm a one-man band and I can do what I need to do on my own. So if I don't have my house members on the side clapping for me, I'm going to have the crowd screaming Chanel when I walk out.
Okay. You better
That's
say
what
that.
that's what
Come on.
about is making sure that I made a name for myself. So the New York City Prince title was given to me by RR and my father, Derek Chanel overall. And they felt like it was about time that I got what I deserved. And that was this title that you see that I have now. I'm also, although we're talking about mainstream, I'm also New York City father, Isaac Versace. My chapter will be debuting pretty soon. So definitely stay tuned with that. And you will get to see what I put, you will get to see my art through my kids.
Okay. You ate that.
All right. Well, no, I love what I'm seeing with the House of Chanel. I love the father, personal relationship with him. I love the body boys. Send them my way. The ones that y'all just sent out at the recent ball. Tell them I said hello. How are you doing? Okay. Your
Yeah.
women, your
Get it,
women's face
Talia.
and
Double
your
team.
women.
See
Your
Get
that.
it,
women's
Talia.
face, your women's face and runway that I've been seeing at the balls and stuff since the West Ball and coming up is like, okay, I'm living for this. I like this. I was so ecstatic when RR took the mic and gave you your just due. I've always loved the Prince title. Because to your point about ballroom, we get so amped of always trying to have the hottest name be the father of our house or something like that, that a lot of times we don't groom from within. So with the Prince and Prince title, these are older titles that we used to have in ballroom that were a lot more active prior, before we started having all these new queen mothers and stuff. And what the Prince and Prince title was basically, there's potential for leadership. We see it in you, and we want to take this time to groom you and allow you to, shadow leadership and emerge so that you promote from within. Because, like you said, you want to be able to foster that loyalty from within a house. So it's just amazing to see that title, and I'm amazed and waiting to see what yourself and the House of Chanel brings us in the coming year.
All right. So,
Chanel.
yes, Chanel.
Chanel.
Yes.
And
So,
don't do me because my cup is usually Chanel, But
what was
tomorrow I
it?
gotta go to work and I'll be in.
Yeah, I would have lived for that.
Oh, you would have lived. You would have lived.
All right, so we have you here. We're gonna jump into our topics, and then we're gonna bounce back and probably ask you some more questions. But we got to get to some tea because I've been sipping my tea and I'm almost done. So first and foremost, I want to say congratulations to Rihanna. She is the national hero of Barbados. I think that is so great for her, and Barbados now has their freedom from Queen Elizabeth.
That's a Pisces for you.
I love Queen Elizabeth, but I mean, sometimes you gotta let go, girl. Let it go, like Elsa. So, congratulations to
Let it go.
and congratulations to Rihanna as well. I'm just a bee that landed on a Navy boat, so hey. But also,
the culture bothered her anyway.
Exactly. So, in Michigan, there was 3 people killed and 6 hurt in a high school shooting. Child, did you guys hear about that, or did you all hear about
I
that?
did. I did. I actually did hear about it. You know what really bothers me, day to day, like watching the news, is that certain things are becoming so not uncommon. They're becoming too common. Like, and it's very sad, to think, my nieces and my nephews and my little cousins, they're all in school right now, and to think that that could happen at their school is just, it's really ridiculous, and I don't know. I think that we really have to dive into the gun laws. I know this is opening up a wide variety of conversation, but it's a conversation that needs to be had. No shade.
That's what
I
we
do
do
feel
here.
like I do feel like that we need to revisit these gun laws. There's too much access to these life-ending weapons. You understand what I'm saying? And I do feel like the parents should also be got sought after when their child does something like this. I think that they should be held responsible too, because 9 times out of 10 they're getting the weapons from you. You know what I'm saying, or from home or whatever. And I'm really sick of it. It's very sad. It's disgusting. It's stomach turning. It's just trash.
I remember in my high school days, we had the similar shooting with the high school. But it was kind of like goth tees. You remember when we were in high school,
It was white.
Yeah, it was white.
Ghana.
It was
It was white on white crime.
I know.
You're just so thorough with it, though.
I mean, I want to get in. I'm gonna wait to let everybody speak because y'all know this is my topic. Go ahead, Sasha, baby.
I just hope that I send my condolences and my respects to the families. But it's a lot of anger out in the energy, and I hope that we can all reverse.
White people die every day, B.
Even black people die. We die for.
Sorry.
But I just hope we bridge this gap bullshit that we're going through right now, because it's hard for everybody, and it's even hard for people to celebrate their holidays. A woman recently, shout out to the family, to the woman who got murdered last week, going Christmas shopping, a grandmother, and got murdered on the train, stabbed, and took her belongings. So now somebody is missing a grandmother for the holidays, and I send my condolences and respects to them, because for me, it's not about the color. All lives matter.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I think
Calm down.
Of pent up energy.
And while you sitting there talking, you need to be having me some teddy bear stuffies for Christmas, Gunner. Do I got to design them myself while you sitting there talking about it sold out?
Oh, I want one too.
Oh, you shut me up.
Like, that was quick too.
Yes, it was. My response on the topic, of course, my condolences to the families, and speedy recovery for the ones that were hurt. It really doesn't kind of bother me. I'm kind of with Ghana. This is something that they do, and it's not right.
I'm so sorry. I was really trying to wait for Gutter to finish. I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna hold it. But I really I don't agree with that. I mean, I agree with white on white crime or whatever. But at the same time, these are fucking kids at a high school.
Okay.
These are kids at a high school, and regardless of color or whatever, these are kids. These are somebody's babies. These are babies, and it just does not traumatize the ones who are affected. It affects the
Mm-hmm.
whole entire student body, the community, the teachers, everybody. It affects everybody. That's not something that is common or should just be felt like, oh, it really doesn't bother me. No, it should bother you because it is very weird. Your niece, nephew, cousin, uncle, baby, whoever could be next.
When I say
Okay. Hold on. Wait, look, can I go?
when I say don't
hold on,
bother
do I have
me.
a raise my hand thing on here or something?
No, that's not a raise my hand.
Oh, it's not a raise my hand.
Say something real quick. I think one thing that we're passing by is that we just got out of a whole pandemic and we're still in it. There's energies and there's a lot of spirits that's still going on within these people. Some of these people have been sitting in their houses and have been cooped up with a lot of anger. We may be living how we're living in our households and living good. We don't know how these people live in their households and how their brain is now trained. And again, this is kids. So them bringing, I'm not saying it's good at all, but them bringing guns and killing these people, we don't know where this is all coming from and what they're going through as well. So keep those thoughts in mind when we're speaking about these. Like I'm
so glad you brought that up. I'm so glad Demi went ahead and spoke because y'all opened up several layers that I wanted to touch on.
Absolutely.
Black children in America, since I've been around, I'm almost 40 times around the sun, have had to fear being in school, have went to schools with subpar books, subpar resources, and fear for their lives in schools. And it doesn't really garner that attention. Black kids go to school every day in subpar communities, and it does not make the news. On top of being in a pandemic, yes, the world has been in a pandemic, but Black people have been dealing with epidemics since we've been here. Right. So I think that's one of the reasons why Black people are so kind of discarded with the COVID virus is because HIV, high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, cancer, poverty, all of these things have always plagued us, and we've had to deal with those as a community. So what's different about this is now white people are having to live how we've had to experience, and in particular to this case, in particular to this school shooting, and why I'm saying it doesn't bother me. It's not that it doesn't bother me that a life is lost. Anytime a life is lost, when it's not at the hands of their own doing, then that, I have issue with that. But what I don't have time for anymore is to give my emotional capacity to white on white crime, to white problems and white fragility, when the same thing isn't done for us. Like I said, there are Black kids that get killed and kidnapped and all this every single day. But when a white girl gets kidnapped and goes missing, the entire country knows about it. When a white school has white students go in and shoot it up, hold on, everyone knows about it. But when Tyrone gets shot in the block, they don't care if they do know about it, it's giving it's Black on Black crime. Look at those thugs. They need to fix themselves. White America, fix your fucking children. Okay, the way that white children are raised in this country under their privilege allows for this shit, and then we coddle around them as a community, as Black people, as number one, we've been trained to do, and number two, as we do naturally, because Black people are empathetic, right? We are the cradle of life, so we are very empathetic to all life.
Oh,
so it's like
time
I don't have time for it.
He can't have the cookie after dinner.
Yeah, and
I don't have time for it.
Very, just like to sum it all up, it's like if it affects them, that's when it matters. But if it's us, it doesn't matter.
But I truly disagree with that. I'm sorry, I disagree with that because
honestly, right now, if with like our trans sisters and our trans daughters and mothers and stuff, they're suffering from homelessness and like needing health care. But
it's murdered a lot this year.
Until a white girl, it happens to them and it like really is in their neighborhood, then that's when you will start getting your needs and things that you want.
And honestly, the thing about it is it's emotional fortitude is a resource, and all of us have a limited capacity of it, right? And so for what I'm saying when I say I don't care, is not I don't care as in I don't care like life is about fuck them. It's I don't have the emotional capacity to give to that community because my community needs all the capacity that I have because nobody from their community gives us their capacity.
I just don't. This is just my opinion, and I'm only 27 years old. My perspective is from a whole different view of life. You understand what I'm saying? So I can respect yours, Gunna, because I can respect your opinion and what you're saying because you have been through more, you have experienced more, you have witnessed more, you have seen more. But for me, in the communities that I was raised in, I wasn't raised in the best of communities or anything like that. But I just disagree with this particular topic, this particular circumstance, and this particular situation. This to me is simply just wrong. It does not matter if it's for me. It does not matter if it was a black child or a white child. It would not matter to me. It wouldn't matter if it was a gang shooting at a school or this like it is now. This white man came, this white little boy, white little girl came in here and shot up the school. It doesn't matter to me. To me, the main root of focus is that these are babies, these are kids, and there has to be, and like Isaac just said, there has to be something else going on. But then too, it does not make it okay. We have to be very clear in when you're talking about these situations to not dress up our reasoning as excuses, because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like an excuse. It sounds like an excuse to not really care, an excuse to pay it under the rug because it keeps happening. That's my whole thing. I know that it's a cultural thing, or I get what you're saying as far as you don't have the time or the energy to care about anything else that is outside of your community. But at the same time, this is something that's also affecting our community as well, because it's not just white kids that's shooting up schools. It's not just them. It's honestly just not them. It may be more of them, but it's just not them. You get what I'm saying? So that's just not me. I don't know.
You know what? No shade. Like to kind of make it a key of a topic. It also is the reason why white kids do shit. Like, yeah, they want to call black kids thugs and shit, but we really be fighting over like resources. Like, I'm poor, nigga, and you got some $200 shoes I can sell. Like, and my family needs
Absolutely.
money. They be like, my mommy didn't get me a pony, and y'all call me fat. I'm shooting up the school. That's it.
Yes.
Friends, you gotta go. And I'm just like,
My mom
girl.
didn't get me the what is it, the iPhone 13 for Christmas.
It'd be the why for me too. They just be like,
Absolutely.
"Girl, you white people, and then they like they want this rally cry, and it's like, but to add to something that was brought up earlier, right? I do think in this case I'm seeing whisperings of that they're gonna look into also putting the parents on trial. Now I am here for
Absolutely.
that. I'm
Me
here for
too.
that because here's the thing for me. If we have established that children can't be tried as adults, that means the adults that are responsible for them should be able to be tried, maybe not for the same severity, right? So let's say the young man can't be tried as an adult for murder one, but whatever the child equivalent is of that, he can be tried for that. And maybe the parent isn't on trial for murder one, but it's like murder
Manslaughter.
three. It's like manslaughter, murder three, or
Absolutely.
what do you call it when you're working with someone? Like a cohort or something like that, because they maybe provided the weapon or they provided the mentality. They they
Absolutely.
they fostered the environment that created this child to act out in that way, right? So I think that this maybe be a little bit different. So I would like to watch out and see how this plays. I will say
Absolutely.
when it comes to white cases, I do like to watch though, because it's telling how it's
See,
sometimes it's very telling how, because we know how white people feel about us, right? But it's also telling how white people, they tell on themselves about how they think about class and respectability politics and things of that nature when
absolutely.
they are in the spotlight against themselves. So you sit back and you watch, you're like, oh, okay, so this within the white community, this type of white voice matters even more. So you start to kind of see the separation that they have when you actually see them against that. So that's going to be interesting to watch, to see if they're actually going to put some white parents in jail for something their white child did. I would like to see how that plans out.
They'll probably do that to a black parent first.
Almost definitely would, but yeah, I want to see how it's going to pan out with these white parents.
Yeah, so that's what's happening in Michigan right now. Our hearts go out to the families. Right, our feelings, but we do have emotions and we do show
Yeah.
empathy and concerns. So the next thing is Stacey Abrams is running again. I'm happy for that.
I'm so not.
Who is
I'm so not. And I love Stacey. I love her. I love Stacey with all of my heart. I love her so much. But I loved her before the last 2 years. I really did. I feel like she has become very catty in her political achievements, And I think that's what's devaluing her for me. I feel like she's doing a lot of catty ass shit, and I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. Some of her responses are not as intellectual as they would normally be. They're very catty, very just. She wants to argue, you know. And I get for standing up, talking your shit, being the person that you are. But at the same time, I don't want her to devalue herself because of these people are not giving her the things that she's fighting for. That it just makes her look less of a person that I wanted her to be in my of a hero that I wanted her to be in my head. I'm just not. I'm not happy for it. Maybe if she changed her perspective.
Maybe do you think maybe she probably have to do that? She probably have to fight a little harder. She may have to do a little things because they probably giving her shit.
Okay, but Gillette, okay, you and Gunner are fighting, right? And when you and Gunner are fighting, Gunner is hitting you with thing after thing. It doesn't matter what you do, they're hitting you with something else under the table, on top of the table, beside the table, in front of your face, behind your back, everything. But when you start changing the person that you are because of the things that you're happening, that's not for me. I don't want to sympathize with you. I want to. I'm really looking at you like now you're going to complain. You know, went through 10 of these things, and now you're going to complain at the 11th. At some point, you have to just keep on going. I feel like people forget that you have to keep going, and they give into what the people are trying to make you do. They want you to get off your game. They want you to sound dumb as fuck on national live television and talking about the most serious topic that you can be talking about, which has happened to her plenty of times. So I feel that she is allowing these people to get knocked off her game. So why would I want you to step into an office or a position that really, really would change the way a lot of these things are happening? That one position, you get what I'm saying? So I want you to be on the top of your game, and if you're not on your top of your game, I just don't think you should run. I hope that she comes in with a different, fresh approach, and she's back to the Stacey Abrams that was ready about 4 years ago. Because this one for the last 2 years, I have not liked. It's my opinion. Yeah, but I love Stacey. Hey, Stacey, because we both big girls. I love Stacey. Okay.
How does anyone else feel about Stacey coming back out running? Like,
oh, I don't care.
Oh.
Congratulations on you and your future endeavors.
I think it's great. I love Stacey. I don't care in the effects that I no longer am part of the political voting system. I think it's a flawed system intentionally from design, so I don't see the point in really caring. But as far as for those who do opt to participate, I think she's she's a great candidate. I understand what Demi is saying. I understand and I see that perspective. On the flip side of that, I love sassy black women. That's why I surround myself with them on this very show, because I think black women are to hold.
you good?
What happened?
I don't know why I'm feeling like floaty. Like, what's wrong with me? I think that I'm gonna have some technical difficulties, but we'll still continue. In the meantime, Doja Cat is releasing her video tomorrow for Woman. Do y'all like the song?
Work Doja. Get into it, y'all.
I think it's gonna be huge.
Y'all like Doja Cat?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I love her. I love her artistry. I love her.
I'm sorry.
I love her visuals. She's bringing something that most of the girls don't bring, and I'm talking about as a newbie. A lot of people come into it and they wait till about their 10th year to really start bringing it. She came out with the guns and just said, "Bitch, I'm giving you everything that I got right off bat."
Yeah,
I like her artistry, but when do we draw the line between artistry and gimmicky? I think that it's very back and forth with me. I love her artistry. I love her visuals, like you said. I love her creative aspect of how her view on music is. I really enjoy that. But at times with her appearances and stuff like this, it gets gimmicky. It doesn't give me authentic. It doesn't give me authentic. It just gives me a gimmick, and I can't fuck with it.
Aspect, I can definitely agree with you. I don't think that Doja would be the same person that if me and her was to sit down, she would be who she's, portraying to be as an artist. But I can say when it comes down to that, like myself, you have Isaac and you have Will, two different people. Sometimes you just turn it on if you turn it off. Like I feel like that's what she's doing. She knows to turn it on. That's her gimmick.
But also, this is an industry, and I think because of her being on a label and she's not an independent artist, she doesn't have as much control as we would expect for her to have.
It's 2021.
Exactly.
But it's 2021. Most artists have control over their image in this era. It's 2021.
I think it's giving very Lady Gaga, just trying to find my place. You know.
Yeah.
Hopefully she finds it.
I think it's giving Gaga.
I like her.
I mean, I don't know her. I'm old. I don't really follow her. But I will say, in terms of artistry, speaking about gimmicks, I want people who are creatives to think more, be more. Let's be more thoughtful about what we deem for other people as a gimmick. Because one thing about being a truly creative, you never want to be on the creative side thinking you're doing what you love, and someone tells you that what you're doing as a creative is a gimmick because of that's their perception, right?
Absolutely, I agree.
So, and I just always say that amongst us because I know we're creatives.
Yeah,
we have to put ourselves in that shoes. You might go and get blonde hair, and someone's like, "Oh, she's doing the Beyonce gimmick," and it's like, "No, bitch, I like blonde hair." You know what I'm saying? But you're now being judged. So now it might be. I prefer a word like formulated because formulated means it's a formula to it. It's not a gimmick.
Gunna.
It's more formulated.
Like, you giving Waukesha.
It sells, but
brown skin, purple hair.
But yeah, I don't really know her. She sounds like all the other girls. I never know any other girls. Like any of my girlfriends, Gillette, and them when we're around, we listen to music. I'm like, who is that?
You heard her.
I don't think she sounds like the rest of the girls.
Friendsgiving
I be knowing the girls, but I don't be knowing the girls. I be having to ask every time. I be like, who is that? Is that Gillette, Janani? Is that Doja Cat?
You're really
is that Malata? Like I be having to ask. I don't know them. But that's not just that's
well, her name is Lotto now because Mulatto was a slave name.
Yeah.
See, Sasha trying to be funny because she know what kind of conversations get me riled up. You being funny because you know what kind of conversations get me riled up. But no, so I don't know much about her. But I say do your thing. I say be all over the place. I like gimmicky and tawdry and in your face kind of artistry. I think we're in one of the most authentic artist ages now because of social media, because people have the ability to put themselves out there and build their own brands, and you don't have to have a big name push you. Like you guys remember when you didn't know about people, they wasn't in a Vibe magazine or on the radio. Now you got people like you have Cardi B, who literally went from social media to now one of the most known names on the planet by building her own brand and who she was from an organic following. So
She's
the ability
creative director for Playboy.
Yeah, to be able to do that in this day and age, I think is so amazing. Because back then, you really had to be plucked from obscurity, be the chosen one. And now it's just like, bitch, you can show up on TikTok tomorrow, drop something, go viral, and the next day you making $10,000 checks.
Yeah.
So can I ask you guys a question while we were on artistry? I know this wasn't one of the topics, but it just dawned in my head. It just dawned in my head, and I knew that it was bullshit when I seen it. So I wanted to just hear what your perspective of it was. How do you guys feel about Ashanti being recognized as the woman of soul this year at the Soul Train Awards? How did you guys feel about that? Did you feel like she's a very soulful artist, or did you guys agree with that?
No.
Okay, I thought I was the only one who thought it was bullshit.
I mean, I agreed with it in a way.
At this point, I just feel like you want to be.
I agree
with you. I'm at you, Debbie. I'm at you. No, I think number one, Ashanti came in that era where she did kind of create a different sound that a lot of the girls started to kind of follow. Like her sound, and what's the sound of the girl that dated P. Diddy for a while?
Cassie.
Like you really think about it, that early Beyonce era, that kind of uppity bop music, that kind of came from them kind of girls. Like they was creating new sound. And another thing we have to be mindful of. But no, and that's what I was gonna say. Another thing we have to be mindful. Hold on. But another thing we have to be mindful of is just because we don't see people in the limelight in the mainstream, there's a lot of these artists that like I found out Music Soul Child is still touring and selling out at venues, right? Yeah. And we haven't heard from Music Soul Child in over a decade. So these people are still doing their work and doing their numbers. They're not charting and doing all of that, but amongst the community, and because that was a Black community award, you know what I'm saying? I could see how maybe she's doing her ones and twos when everyone else is doing pop music and following Beyonce. She's still going around giving an audience what the fuck they want to hear from the 90s. And she's still
Do you
doing
know
it.
who was else supposed to when they were doing the judging? You know, I got this off of B. Scott's blog. It was also going into that was supposed to be Jasmine Sullivan was who was also going up for this award this year, and they gave it to Ashanti. It doesn't even. It was like 5 other bitches, but they were loser like Ashanti too. So it didn't
But
really
Jasmine
make
got
sense.
album of the year.
But
It doesn't
but
really make
it's
sense to
Soul
me.
Woman of the Year based on album. I don't think it's an
No,
album award.
it's strictly not based about album. But when you think of Ashanti, I don't think of soul. I think of trap bitch from the hood, nigga done cheated, like that. I don't, and I
That
only
doesn't
can
mean
think
she
of her
doesn't
about
have
but you gotta
5
soul.
understand.
songs.
But you gotta
Soul
understand,
Woman of
Jimmy.
the Year with 5. Come on.
That
From a
doesn't mean she
certain
doesn't
era,
have
but
soul.
from a certain era, that's how we defined our soul
But
girl.
she was
Like
only
our
in
queen of
an era
R&B
of 3
soul is
years.
Mary J. Blige,
But
and she is
Ashanti
the
gave us
hoodest
a lot of
chick in the
soulful records.
world.
Like Foolish was a soulful record. It was about being in a domestic violence relationship, which is soulful. Rain on Me. Listen to the lyrics.
Our
She
soulful
has
girls are
soul
always
inside
banging.
her.
Keisha Cole,
We're
Mary
not
J.
talking
Blige.
about Fish Jenners.
So I guess
You
they
know,
just gave it to her because she would never get a Grammy or any
Exactly.
other award.
and
Got
maybe
it.
they gave and maybe
Exactly.
they gave it to her. You know, a lot of times we do operate in opposition of what's happening in the mainstream white culture, right? So think about it. J Lo has been getting all these awards for music that literally Ashanti
That
did.
was
Was Ashanti?
Ashanti.
So
Ashanti wrote
maybe
that
this was
shit.
us saying, you know what, bitch, if they can give her an award for music you did, then in our community we can give you an award for music you did.
And
And so I'm here for that.
Ashanti does have a Grammy.
And she's
And
Grammy award winning.
She
She
has a
performed
Grammy.
she
She has a
performed in an
Grammy, and
orange
she
You're
has
dress.
right.
It Rain on Me.
she has a Grammy,
You're
and
right.
she's in the Guinness Book of World Records. She was the last youngest teen to sell like digital records. I mean CDs before
I
they.
mean, and we got to understand that the Grammy, even though it's watered down now, it feels kind of watered down in the era where people are getting 8, 10, 12, 15 of them in a night and stuff. Back in the day, when you got into that
You had to
Grammy
work hard.
club, it's like old school ballroom legendary status. When you got into that Grammy club in that 90s, because you got to think of what that competition was like in the 90s. It wasn't the era of the Beyonce can get 19 of them. It was 10 girls out putting out dope ass songs,
Absolutely.
all fighting for those spots. So when you got that Grammy, it was like, bitch, you entered to a club. So
Yeah.
the same way we even look at a lot of times I hear a lot of people say this about like Jennifer Hudson. They're like, girl, why does they always choose her? Why do they always pick her? Or even like Alicia Keys. Like we still see her popping up everywhere. It's because they're in those clubs because they've gotten those awards now. So industry is gonna always look to them as their jewels and girls that they book for certain things and give certain awards. She's
But
in that
why is
club.
that? Oh, I don't even want to take the conversation any further because I sure was about to say, well, why is that only in music? Because in acting, that's just not the same thing. But that's something here nor there. Go ahead, Gillette. Next topic.
But we can write that topic down and submit it for this weekend.
Absolutely.
I love
I
you,
need
Demi.
that.
I
Well,
love
I
her.
love Demi. We're working
well,
Me
I
too.
love her.
we were on the topic of speaking of like gimmicks and stuff like that. And Hulu tried to pull a gimmick of trying to release Astro World, a concert from hell. They released it and then they took it down. So how do y'all feel about this? It's like it's just too soon. Like they're just already trying to just down him already. Like
I feel like he's
that would have
like.
that would have been.
Go ahead.
I would have lived for that. No shade.
I would have watched it. Boo.
If we talking, see, if we talking about our feelings, then yeah, it's too soon. But if we're talking about marketing and publicity and all that stuff,
I don't
you're
think it's
doing
too soon at all.
in that retrospective. But if we're talking about feelings, then yeah, it's too soon.
I don't think it's
Well,
too
like,
soon. Why is it too soon? Why is it too soon? Let me ask you a question. When those kids got shot the fuck up, excuse me, or whatever the fuck happened at Ariana Grande concert, when that happened,
they
bitch,
blasted her.
they blasted
So
her. The next day, she was already back on it.
When you said they were putting out
Thank you.
Hulu the show, was it going to be a show based on everything that happened?
it was episodes. It was it's called Astro World Concert from Hell, episode 1.
So it's
And
giving.
So it's gonna be one of
So
their
it was
short
giving.
series.
It's a documentary.
So
It
it
was
was
giving
giving. It was
series.
giving basically surviving R. Kelly
okay,
documentary, surviving the
so
concert.
my next
Very
question
much.
is: would those proceeds be going to those families for their family? You know, for the people dying.
Look,
We don't know about that, right?
I have not a clue because they canceled.
Yeah,
So
Do you think that he
charges.
should be charged for any of those things that they said that he should be in the news? That he should be providing for those families, even though he has done things. He has sponsored a little one too. But do you think that they should actually take legal action against him for a concert that was completely sold out? That was not his
I,
fault.
I don't.
So this is the topic I really wanted to get to. So, because I'm really trying to understand it. Maybe I haven't done enough digging, but it's to my understanding that he is both the artist and the CEO of the company that threw the
like this
concert.
is his yeah.
So it's. I feel like at times the articles and stuff kind of play on that language, right? There's a difference between suing him because he's the artist performing,
Mhm.
which I don't think he's accountable for the security situation as an artist performing, right? But I think as the company that threw it, his company can be sued, right? And this is just something that we as Black people need to know in general about LLCs and safeguarding ourselves. His personal income and things of that nature, they should not be able to sue him or take any of that. Now, the proceeds made by the company that's responsible for security that he is the owner of, most definitely they should be sued because people was harmed while in your care.
Yeah, this
But
was
no, but this is my question. If go ahead, Isaac. I'm talking a lot. I'm
no,
drunk.
that
So
was
go
me.
ahead.
I was saying like, he's done this concert for like ever since he's been out, and he solely like put it on for himself. It's been like his own kind of Coachella. Also with being sued, Apple and Drake was also sued behind it too. So I think there's some accountability needs to be held.
Yeah.
He still performed while people were being toted out. So
Yes.
if there was some acknowledgement of knowing like something was happening, like most artists would stop and be like, what's going on? He continued to.
But
But as
people,
an
people,
artist,
people work. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Demi.
okay, I'm sorry. But as an artist, being on that stage, people are falling out and passing out all the time. People are, that's a common thing. And what I think is so crazy is based upon the article, because anything celebrity, but I'm on it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna be a celebrity one day, and I know him in my future life. We just haven't met yet, but I know from the article he had ample amount of security there. It wasn't. I feel like he gets some account. Bitch, you know what I'm
Ability.
trying to say. Yeah, you got it. Um, should take place, but I don't feel like he should be, slain like they're trying to slay him. I think that that's really ridiculous. It's not his fault
But
that this many people came out to his
but
concert.
you
That
have
doesn't
to.
make sense.
I say you have to look at it like this: it's your business, and if something happens in your business, you're gonna go down for it. If it's one person, two person, three persons, if it's yours,
Right.
it was yours.
Double-edged.
I mean, again, I think it has to be a clear separation, and this is something we have to learn from like the corporatization, the way American structures and stuff works, right? Like again, I don't think when you're culpable, which means you're in a position to provide services as to safeguard people's safety. You're responsible for that. I don't think that we want to start putting people on trial because they don't stop what they're doing when they're not responsible for something because they're witnessing or watching it, right? Because that's a very slippery slope. To say that he as an artist is in control of whether a concert should go on or off or if he should stop it while he's performing as an artist, what does that do for Beyonce at Coachella? What does that do for a person that's in the front of a stage rapping and someone gets beat up in the back of the club, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
or what
if
does
you're
that do if you're walking down the
on the
street and
line,
someone's
brother,
getting
and
beat,
your insurance
someone's getting beat up on the street? Am I responsible as a witness now to stop that and try to do something to control that? Like, I
But
don't
if you're
think
the
him the
owner of the
person,
street,
but brother, if you're performing and it wouldn't dawn
but
in
as
your
a
mind
performer,
like, no,
you're
no, no,
not.
hold on. If you're performing, it wouldn't dawn in your mind like, hey, at the end of the day, this is my money, this is my insurance. I need to
Now
make
I think on a social aspect, should we hold him accountable socially? Sure, because it is the right humane thing to do to witness a crime or witness somebody being hurt and saying stop. Like let's try to stop that. I think there's some social accountability. I don't think as an artist, right, his artistry side, so he has two purses. As an artist, I don't think that money should be able to be touched. If I'm making money over here with my job that that I have, sis, from 9 to 5, and once somebody buys my garment and they don't like it, they shouldn't be able to touch my money that I make from my other job. That's a whole different. That's a whole different entity, right? You can get money from the thing that's providing the service to you, and what was providing the service to them was the concert, was the promotion company that he owns.
No,
His promotion company
I'm
should be
for sue the
sued.
company.
Boots.
I'm sue Astro, all that.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
sue his personals, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, I would have me if I'm on the stage and my money on the line and this insurance, like I'm going to be like, well, hold on, what's going on?
I mean, and then here again, y'all know everything's a race thing with me too. Again, if we're still at this point not holding the president accountable for January the 6th, okay? If we're not holding any of those Democratic Congress leaders accountable for an insurrection on the country, but we want to try to, put a noose around this black man's neck for a few people that got killed at a concert, not to diminish saying a few in a diminishing way, right? But again, maybe it's because of how old I am. I now look at social justice and stuff, and I try to look and apply it across at everything. And I don't like to see some type of social justice like directly applied in certain communities more harshly than you see it in other communities. Not saying that I think that we should get off for being if black people are criminals, definitely hold us accountable. But there's some to a level of accountability that we like to hold ourselves that is not equal across the board, and that just.
I have a question. So when Woodstock happened, I'm not sure if you guys seen that documentary. Were those artists held accountable for what happened at all? And these were all white art, mainly white. But the moment that a black man did this, we're all going for him. They love shit. My second question is, we're all artists. We all perform it in some way. When you're on that stage, especially if there's thousands of people, are you really paying attention? Because me personally, if y'all have seen me perform, I'm in my zone. That's when Will is out and Isaac is in the building, and I'm focused on performing. I'm listening to the beats. I'm in my zone. These artists are so in their zone. I understand that he did stop and he said whatever he said to the audience, but I still feel like it's kind of hard to kind of gauge what's really going on when you're an artist like that and you're performing.
Absolutely, I definitely agree with that, and I do, and like I said, I definitely feel like they should definitely sue the performance the company. They should definitely sue the company, but I don't agree with the slaying of him. I don't agree with the slaying of him, not at all.
Gillette, the next time we at a ball, if you walk in runway and there's a fight and you don't stop the MC, and say, hey, everyone stop the ball. I'm not walking until y'all get that fight under control and take care of it. Do you think we should hold you accountable because you were on the runway and all eyes were supposed to be on you?
Yes.
So we're gonna hold you accountable.
No, I'm picking.
Because if that's the case, girl, we need to revisit Virginia.
I'm picking.
Hold you accountable then.
Oh wow! I thought we ended that.
Baby, listen.
I wish I would have been on that episode. No shame.
I thought we ended that. Well, speaking on ballroom, it was a last minute something brought to the desk, and I think it's going to be a part 1, part 2. I think it's going to be a verse back and forth. I think it's finally that time where Kiki and Main Scene have their conversation, and it was the flip of the hairs. Isaac, at this moment, if you choose to stay, you're welcome to stay. I know you're in your mode. If you want to, hit it and leave the girl.
Good.
Okay, cool. All right, so this is given, I guess, the intro to Ballroom's Kiki versus Main Scene. So it was brought to my desk that it was like a long response to like a long paragraph. Like, girl, you wrote all this, Miss Thing. You should be writing books at this point. Like, just really
Courtney.
I hope I'm getting the facts right, but I think Gunna has like the actual tea. But it was like really like talking about the one and only, the icon, the one and only mother, Courtney Juicy Couture. And she's a Balenciaga too, legendary Courtney Balenciaga. Shout out to her, love her down. We're gonna have her on the show. But they was really just like really going on to her. It was just too much for me to read. I'm so sorry. I need to catch up on it. I wasn't on my journalism. But Gunna, catch us.
Yeah, so it was some tea that was brought across my red phone. I'm an honorary Juicy. Shout out to the house of Juicy.
Oh, I
Shout out
never
to
knew
Courtney.
that.
Yes, I was made an honorary Juicy 4 years ago at Tompkins Park.
Is
Me
it
and Yo
three or
Yo.
four?
I think it's four actually. It
Yeah.
was at Yo Yo and I went to a Juicy cookout. They had their
Aren't you
yearly
supposed to juicy?
they had their yearly cookout at the Tompkins Park near Green and Troop or Throop. And so I was there, out with the girls, and I was made a juicy that night. When you're fab like that, you don't do that process stuff. You just come on, sit
I
at the
think when you're
table.
old like that.
That could be it too. But I've only gone to one Kiki ball. I watch a lot of the clips and stuff like that because I have kids and stuff that are there, and I get a lot of the clips sent to me. That's how I scout a lot of talent. But no, I've only been to one ball. It's a young space, at least for me. So these are I statements. Demi and I are going to engage in a conversation that's follow up, and we're going to talk
Absolutely.
about the Kiki scene. And I don't like to think about mainstream versus Kiki. I really do think we can get to a point to where it's mainstream with Kiki or mainstream adjunct Kiki or however, because we are really one merged community in a lot of ways. We even had a category created by Lego the other day or last 2 weeks ago, which truly was an integration of the two scenes, which I think is really cool. Um, but yeah, so the juicy tea came across my desk. It was some stuff going on between father father Cordy Tishi and and Kimbella and some of the Tishi. I mean not Tishis. Damn,
Oh, so it wasn't.
Juicies.
It wasn't
Juicy.
Courtney Juicy.
No, I mean it's her. It's her house. But I don't think it was her. It's a lot of people implicated. Again, the red tea came across my desk, and so
Okay.
I was just
Okay.
kind of
I'm
like
sorry,
I tried
Courtney.
to read through it, and there was a lot of names. So I haven't had the opportunity to reach out to any of these people. So again, everything that we're saying is all allegedly.
Alleged.
Um, it's all alleged right now because again, I want to admit that it all came across my desk, as T normally does. But there's something going on in the key. There's something going on in the Kiki scene. Basically, what I took from it, and we can share the post maybe or something like that because I don't think naming the people is that important. But what I took from it and what kind of sparked the conversation with Demi and I is I think watching mainstream since I really came to know about it about 14 years ago to now, and kind of watching it grow over time, I kind of predicted that they would get to this like power struggle place. They would get to start to have some of the exact same issues that we have in ballroom once they really started implementing these hierarchies. And I started to see hierarchies be important in terms of power. When I started to see, people that were maybe C or D list in mainstream, but are A list in Kiki, and would, from what I understood from the early Kiki scene, kind of age out, right? Like I was told it was like a 13 to 25 kind of thing, and but then I started seeing people that I saw in ballroom that weren't really, the oohs and the la la las, but they were staying over there a lot and garnishing a lot of power. Um, and so that it was a lot of that, and I predicted this. I think the Kiki scene is. I don't understand the point of it anymore. One of the things I saw a post the other day that said, part of the problem with the Kiki scene now is that these people from mainstream came over to Kiki and they're dominating, or they're trying to. And I'm like, no, what happened was people in Kiki aged out, went over to mainstream, couldn't make it, and came back to Kiki and exerted that power. And Demi kind of disagreed with some of that. So, hey, Demi,
It's
welcome.
it's not really that I disagree with some of it, or most of it, because I do agree with the older people in Kiki scene holding on to power. But I also look at mainstream and see that same thing happening with these legendary iconic houses who have failed because they will not pass on power. You understand what I'm saying? So it's in both scenes.
But
But
the
when it
but the thing,
comes
go ahead. Because
but when
but
it
the
comes
thing that bothers me, and this maybe you can address this, is part of the whole pushback from Kiki scene was when the mainstream was calling them out and saying, "Hey, you're replicating our scene, you're doing this," and like, "No, we're something different. We're gonna do our own thing. Y'all have too much power. Y'all don't let the girls through. Y'all are shady. Y'all are this. Y'all are that. We want to remain this fun place." And it's like, no, y'all wanted to remain a subpar place where subpar girls could get power. because
I
now
don't
y'all
think.
look
Hold on,
like the
hold on, hold on, hold on.
mainstream.
No, Gunner, I don't think that it has anything to do with subpar. Let's be very clear, because I know a lot of girls who do not participate in the main scene at all, but will get out there and do half of those bitches out there. Just to be
Well, let
quite
them come
honest.
do it.
But it's not as easy as saying it. You know, y'all all, and I
It's
mean
supposed
y'all
to be
as
hard, correct?
absolutely. It's supposed to be a competition, but it's not supposed to be hard or uninviting. Let me use that word, uninviting. The mainstream is very uninviting. It's very uninviting to the girls who are not it.
Yeah.
And you could dress it up and you could say whatever you want to say about it, but mainstream has always been that it type of thing. You had to be the it bitch. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these big and a lot of and no shade, there are some miraculous stories of bitches who were not it bitches who have turned to be it bitches. But they have forgotten, even them too have forgotten that they were once not it bitches. You get what I'm saying? So if you keep that same type of cycle going with the mentality of Kiki stream and mainstream, instead of having it what it was designed for, which was to design and build these youth up to be strong enough not only in ballroom but more so personal. And you know, me and a part of the Kiki house that I'm a part of the elite house of Bodega. And one of our biggest, I'm
Come on,
sorry,
Bodega.
one of the,
We
I'm
built
so sorry,
it.
one of our main
Juicy.
focus. One of our main focuses, and I will say the Juicies, for instance, like I said, like I seen Courtney and them do the graduation party for the young man who graduated in Juicy. This is stuff that a lot of these houses don't do, mainstream or Kiki, honestly. But Kiki scene was built to build these kids up and mold them not only in ballroom, but also in their personal and just everyday community lives. You understand what I'm saying? Building them stronger to be the ones who are fighting homelessness or having to really be out here by themselves and struggle or having some sense of family is what it was supposed to be for. Now,
But you
is it?
can do that without creating hierarchy, though, right? Like if y'all are just
You
fostering a scene
absolutely
where
can.
people are walking and winning a trophy, Kiki could have done that and never deemed anybody and just said, "Oh, you're a winning girl. That's over for you." But when you started to implement hierarchy, that's where my ear listens up and says, "Oh, they do want to create elitism, but they want to do it in this other place." Because again, they couldn't get accepted in this main place, as you just stated.
But you
It
keep
was
using the
harder.
line. You keep using the line. Couldn't. You keep using that line, and that line is
Or
not
don't or
settling.
choose not to, right? Or choose
Don't
not to.
choose not to, or any of those words. It's kind of like a slap in the face because
But
for me, it's that. Let me just land. Let me land the plane because I'm flying at high speed. Let me land it.
whew,
The thing is that these people and like Isaac, he is now the father of Versace, an older gentleman in Versace, now as a father figure, being able to mold a young mind. You understand what I'm saying? He has the ability now in an anarchy to build these kids to be able to step into mainstream. I think that is the problem. I don't think the problem has anything to do with putting leaders in place or deeming anybody or anything like that. I think that the problem more so is the people who are being deemed. What are they doing back to the community? Are they just staying to gain power, like you said? Or are they here to actually do the work that needs to be done, which is mold these kids into something greater than themselves?
That
You
I think
understand what I'm
that's
saying?
where
So
the
let's probe
problem
that
is.
question to the audience because I know there's some Kiki scene members here. Demi, ask your question again.
My question is, do you think the problem is like Gunnar said, anarchy, you know, putting these people in these leadership positions or deeming them, or do you think the people the problem is the people who are being deemed or being put in these leadership positions have forgotten the value of the Kiki scene or the creation of the Kiki scene was to build these kids up? Because I think that's the problem. I don't think the problem is putting a leader on it.
No
I
I
don't think the
statement. So
problem
that is the
is.
question. No, no, don't put your emphasis on it. No I
Okay,
statement.
I'm sorry.
That's it. That's
I'm
it.
sorry.
So that's the question, y'all. Feel free to answer, but we can talk around it. I'm sorry, Isaac, you were saying something.
I completely almost forgot what I was saying.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I do think where the issue comes in, what I've seen being, well, let's just be clear. I'm a 34-year-old man. It was very hard for me to, I was asked to be in the House of Versace when I was on a movie set. And I haven't walked any Kiki balls because I felt like me walking against some of these people who are younger than me, it was kind of taken away from them and allowing them to make sure that their name was heard for people that do not come into mainstream. So what I decided to do as New York City father was mold my kids to actually, like you said, be able to come into mainstream, and also make sure that I'm focused on their personal lives. Are you getting jobs? Are you making sure that you have a place to stay? Are you not doing drugs? Are you getting tested? Are you doing these things? The problem that I see with a lot of these Kiki houses is I think that their main concern is getting out there and winning, and then it's like, girl, just go about your life and just go do what you're doing, but not tapping into what they're doing. I can't say that one house that I definitely say that has definitely been doing their thing with that is the House of Juicy. Um, but yeah, again, I just think the focus for what the Kiki scene is supposed to be about has kind of lost track. But there is a meeting that will be happening with the Alliance pretty soon. So we definitely will be bringing up these thoughts and these issues and things that you guys are saying.
I just want to piggyback off one thing. I do just want to say that no shade to the House of Juicy or no shade to any other house out here, but there are plenty of houses inside of the Kiki scene who hold core to the values that the Kiki scene was created on. I can name a couple of because I've been around them. The House of Old Navy, they are creating leaders and molding young minds and helping people. You understand what I'm saying? I know I'm not going to say her name because I don't know if she wants me to tell her story, but what I will say is I know a young lady who is also in the House of Old Navy. When she first started, she was struggling with her transition, struggling with all of these things in life that the community, these centers that we're supposed to go to, we're not being able to help her in. And the people inside of that house pulled her out of that struggle that she was in and helped her and guided her through. Not gave her a handout, but helped her and guided her through. And I think that sometimes, looking at leaders or looking at people being or looking at these old ass bitches that are in something that is designed for the youth gets overshadowed by the good work that they are doing. No shade. Most of the time, it's the Kiki boss who's out here in the community doing more than the mainstream. No
That's no
shade.
shade at
Like,
all.
and it's no shade. They're throwing food drives and doing coat drives and doing things like that. And being that I'm a part of the Kiki scene now, where I'm from, there was no Kiki scene. There was only mainstream. When I was 16 and 15 years old, I was brought to mainstream. I was brought to be a tsunami. Didn't know anything about ballroom. All I knew, and I'm not even gonna pause. I'm never going to say what I was about to say. But I was brought into Tsunami and I was a young child, and they were not worried about my well being. They were worried about collecting more members because the house was flopping and it was a flop. So ooh, I'm sorry. And I'm so sorry saying in all of you guys, but it's the truth. The house was flopping and they were worried about creating more members to create a more momentum of something that they lost in mainstream versus me joining Kiki scene and being around these people who seen, hey, I know that you really don't want to be a butch queen and you're struggling to find your identity as a person. Let me come over here and let me educate you on the different lifestyles and things. I didn't get any of that until I joined the Kiki scene. Unfortunately, for me, I felt like it was a little too late, but by the grace of God, it wasn't. So I appreciate the Kiki scene, and I will always go hard for them and ride for them because I see the leaders that they're building and molding. It's no shade. We talk a lot of shit. We do a lot of shit. Me and Gunna could go back and forth about this all day, but
All
I feel
day.
like the Kiki scene molds better leaders than the mainstream. They mold better human beings than the mainstream 98% of the time. You could have the 2%.
So in response to the question, I want to really say that y'all are really saying the same thing that I'm saying, right? So let me explain. The way that I analyze things is root cause analysis. I started this conversation off by saying when I was learning about Kiki scene, what did I think would start to be one of the downfalls of Kiki,
And you said
right?
the
And
hierarchy.
and I said the hierarchy, right? And we've just said that when people get status within the hierarchy, it's what they do with it, right? So we can either take a Tylenol and treat what they do with it, or get rid of the thing that gives them the power to do with it what they did, right? And so that's why I say when you remove the hierarchy, it goes back to it. You remove the distraction, right? Because before the hierarchy, it was all about we're all having fun. Now with the hierarchy, you now introduce money because people want to win more money than other people. So you're introducing all these things that really, when you think about in the greater scheme of society, typically work counter to what you guys are trying to achieve. You're trying to achieve community. You're trying to achieve leadership, hierarchy, money. That breeds greed. It brings elitism. It breeds classism. It breeds an unhealthy level of competition. That's just when we look at society at large. We just had a whole conversation about whether someone deserved to get an award or not, right? Based on their music. And so now we hear pitting black artists against each other, right? You see what I'm saying? So that's part of hierarchy. So what
But
I
let
was
me ask
saying
you a
was
question.
that was gonna be part of the downfall of mainstream when, and I said it back then, like 10 years ago, when girls that did want to try to come over don't make it and go back and find a home and power where they left. And it becomes
And I do,
toxic.
and let me just say this. I definitely agree with there are several bitches who are still in the Kiki scene because they could not make it. But I just want to make sure that we're very clear and clarifying that that is not the Kiki scene.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
that's not the
secondly,
ticket.
and
I get that.
secondly,
Oh, shit.
let me ask you this, Gunner. You're a fashion designer, as you are. Let's just say that you've been on Fashion Week every year for 14 years straight. You have been rocking all of these different types of looks. You done got all different types of celebrities in your shit, but you have not yet received the notoriety that you deserve for the work that you have put in. So my thing is, if we're talking about people getting deemed and building it like a structure like the mainstream, why the fuck would I want to be a part of something that I'm literally
Right.
getting?
So
I'm
so
getting.
my issue isn't now being a part of that, right? I agree. Like I think we should all pick and find communities and places where we succeed, right? And where that fosters and nourishes us. My issue would be not, let's say, so to your point, I'm out in Fashion Week, I'm doing that for years, I never make it. But in my local community, in what we call the Chitlin circuit, right, I could probably be very successful. My issue isn't me being in the chitlin circuit or coming back to that. My issue is coming back to that and then be like, well, bitch, I was showing at Paris Week for 14 years and I'm better than the rest of you other girls that are in the chitlin circuit. We're just here because I'm here. You see what I'm saying? And
But
that
that
becomes
doesn't.
the
But that's the
difference.
same thing in the main scene, Gunner. Everything you're saying
Yeah,
to me is the
no,
same thing.
but
When
but
I
that
joined the main
but that's
scene,
what I'm
I got that same energy, bitch. I've been doing it for
exactly.
15 years. I done my
But
due deal.
but Gillette will tell you I critique the main scene for the same reason. The whole premise of this conversation started out is if you're gonna ultimately become the thing that you said you weren't gonna be, then just get yourself in the thing that you're not gonna be. If you're gonna continually actually be a separate entity with different goals and ambitions that you're striving for, then do that. Right. So my thing is once you started implementing the money and the hierarchy and the statuses, you are literally at this point a mirror image of the thing that already existed. So now you're a copy. But when it was like, no, we're building community, we're doing outreach, we're doing this, and the girls are also walking and having fun. Okay, all you were doing now is adding categories to a community-based structure. But now you've added all of ballroom and you just want to call it a different thing. Because I'm also want to
No, but
believe in
I understand what you're
copyright.
saying. But I do believe that it's a different thing. I don't believe that the Kiki scene and the mainstream are different, not because of the houses, not because of the structure, because all those things are similar, right? I think like it
The
just boils
same.
back down to it is the same, but it's two different things in the same thing. I don't know if I make sense, but that makes sense to me. And what I'm saying to you is that there are two different things. They're two different things, but they're similar. It's no shade. They're
But also,
very
I guess
similar.
also maybe I haven't. I'm not also. I'm in my head thinking this, but I haven't verbally said it. So this is the part that you guys are missing. My other issue with it is you're allowed to be in both. Like it's this hodgepodge between the two. I've often said this. I'm fine with there being a minor league baseball, and there's a major league baseball. There are minor league basketball teams, and then there's the NBA. Right? There are minor league football teams, and then there's the NFL. You can't play in both at the same time and go back and forth. Either you pick one, either you be a small fish in this big sea, or you be a big fish in this small pond. You don't get to hop back and forth between the ocean and the lake. Either you salt
I have
water
a
or fresh
question, Gunner.
water.
Gunner, I have a
Why
question.
can't I
Have
swim up
you?
the river?
Why can't they swim?
Because it's a competition. There's still the competition element to both of the
Yeah, but
communities. I, I,
it's two
who,
different leagues.
who is playing in minor league baseball and major league baseball? Who's on the
So do you
varsity
feel the
team in
same
high
way
school
about the
and the
woman
JV?
scene?
So
Breaking
who's doing
barriers.
who in high school? Who's on did people want to be on JV and varsity? No,
This
you're either
happened.
on the varsity team or the JV team. You're not on
Do
both
you
at the
feel the
same
same way
time.
about overseas ballroom and U.S. ballroom? Do you feel the same way? Is that the same? Do you have the same opinion that you
I
have
mean,
between the Kiki
I
scene
feel
and the
like
mainstream
I
with
feel like
overseas
overseas is still.
ballroom? And
Different.
I feel like overseas though is still an extension of mainstream. They're not saying they're separate from. They are separate by geographic location, but in actuality, they're the same. It's the same. They have additional houses, but the same houses that exist in mainstream exist and operate over there. So it's the same. It's still one league per se. They just are
I
separate based
disagree
on
with you.
gear.
I've seen a whale leave the ocean and swim in a lake. So I don't think
But then go back to the ocean the very next day, and then go to the lake the
that's
next
fine.
day.
Absolutely.
No,
Swim in
this
and
is
Not
part
out,
of the
swim in
problem
and out,
that.
looking for
because
food.
this is the part of the problem with hierarchy. Again, it's like if you can elevate. If I'm at the point of getting my master's and PhD, and that's the academic level I'm at, why am I also down here getting an associate's or a junior college program? Not saying you. I mean, you just. It's just there's a certain level of integrity once you reach a certain skill set as well. I think that's part
What
of
if
the
you're
problem as
walking in a
well.
different category in Kiki than
Now
main?
again, if you're, but I think that's holding true to the Kiki authentic purpose, right? If I came over to Kiki and I started walking drag space, and I would never do that in the mainstream, I never find power there, and I'm just doing that truly as a Kiki, then that's different because that's holding true to the fun nature of it. I have no desires to be a legend for drag face. I have no desires to be a mother. I'm just over here playing around with a category. But at the moment I take it serious and now I want to walk drag space over here too and try to win prizes over here and prizes over there. It's just no, I'm not here for it.
I can name so many bitches off the top of my tongue without even really thinking about it who has walked mainstream and Kiki scene, and some of those are icons and legends in both scenes. So it makes it to me your conversation. I get it, I understand it, but what I'm also saying is it doesn't make sense because it's just like if there are rules that are already in place for an NBA person not to be able to play in a minor league or whatever sport. You get what I'm saying? If there were rules designated when this was started, then yes,
I
okay, I
mean, yeah,
get it.
they
But
no rules. I just think it's
there's
late
nothing in
as
place.
fuck. I think it's late
You
as fuck.
said that.
Gillette over
You
here,
said
Gillette gonna
that.
come.
No, no.
Gillette gonna walk at latex, win $1,000, and then the next night go to the Kiki scene and win they 1,000 too. That is late,
Yes, she's
girl.
Word.
getting her coin and
She's
getting
doing
some
her
Nigga,
due
you
flips
deal.
turned
She's
too.
those kids.
seeding.
That scene is
I
for
don't.
kids.
I barely walk in the Kiki scene
You see what
anymore.
I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying don't get your coin, but like, you've already reached a level, obviously, where in this thing that is allegedly, I'm just framing it this way, right? Mainstream is supposed to be like, like the NBA or the major leagues, and Kiki is a separate thing, right? But we look at mainstream because it's the first, because it's the originator. That's the place where you go when you like, XYZ, whatever, right? That's fine. So she's already a superstar at this level. Then she shows up the next night over there and takes that 1,000. That's an abuse of power to me. And my sister knows this. In ballroom in general, I'm always talking about abuses of power because we are already an oppressed, underfunded, underrepresented, all this community. Like when we build certain hierarchies and certain structures where we, you know what I'm saying? It's like some of it's just like, girl, we can't do it to our own too. You know what I'm saying? We already lose every
I
battle.
haven't walked the Kiki scene in a while, brother. You ain't got to
No,
slap
I was just using you
me.
as an
You just
example.
snapping me up.
But I just think that
I
maybe if they
overslept.
did something else, like made categories that were specific for people who are of a certain age range, right, or something of that magnitude. Because the thing with Kiki scene, the reason why so many older people don't want to let it go, Gunna, and I'm being honest with you, is because they could never, no matter if the talent was great. Sometimes you already destroy rapport with people before you even stepped into a ring with them. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of these people who are stuck in Kiki scene, some of them want to work for the community, want to do the work, want to do the work with the kids and stuff like this. But some of them, they just cannot make that change and switch over because of it's too late. Their time
And
has
so,
came
and
and
that's what I'm
gone.
saying.
But
And
does that
actually, I
make it
think
wrong that they still want to compete and have the same fun that
right.
everyone else is having? Does
And
that
so
make it
maybe,
wrong?
and maybe what I really would like for y'all to maybe receive from me is not necessarily this is a critique. That this is an older person saying, beware of this thing, beware of this thing that is going to fester within your community because it is
Right.
going down the same lines of mainstream ballroom when status and stuff started coming out and stuff like that. What I'm saying is to your point, right? They don't totally represent all of ballroom, right? But Neither do the icons that sometimes make crazy decisions in mainstream ballroom. Neither do the legends make you know what I'm saying? But because they have the power and the visibility and that quote unquote status, and they've earned that, and the way that they're harnessing that power, they can collectively spoil the whole bunch. So what I'm saying is, as an elder who thought the idea of the Kiki in its origination was dope, what I'm saying is beware of not of the Gillettes and even the Isaacs and people who are willing to come back as an elder and be like, okay, I'm going to be here truly in a molding role. Beware of those people that still want all the accolades and powers that come with their status. And they
So let me
thrive
ask you a
off of that,
question.
and they want that because power. It don't matter if it's politics, media, whatever. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So the more power
Absolutely.
and prestige you give these people, and you don't curtail that early on, you start to get some. And I see those people. I see them. Because like I said, Gillette's my sister. I got plenty of sisters in ballroom that are in both scenes, and I can see the difference between those who lead and want to just guide and be there as an elder versus those who are staying there because that's one of the places where they really get the most of their power. And it's not that, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't, because I agree with you. You should stay where you're celebrated. But because of that, it's caused them to one, be bitter against the mainstream, and two, to start to abuse their power in the key, which will ultimately become what destroys y'all in the long run. Because that kind of fester every time a new person gets added to their table. The bigger power grows, the harder it is to diminish, the harder it is to take over. That's why it's so hard for us to take over white racism and systems, because they're so deeply ingrained. Every time somebody else gets added to that power table in the kiki under that hierarchy, y'all see them behaving in a certain way. They add to that power that will ultimately destroy the
But I
beautiful
but
thing y'all
but
created.
I agree wholeheartedly to everything you're saying. No shade, I do. And I'm gagging that I do because I don't most of the time when I'm watching the episodes. But I honestly do. But what I will say is that you have to be very fair in the things that you're saying and understand that this happens in the mainstream too. That's why most of these houses are falling and all of these houses are being
Oh,
created in the mainstream.
absolutely.
You have 20 new houses because of structure not being able to be changed. You understand what I'm saying? People not being able to want to change the structure that has been there for years. You get what I'm saying? So I get it. It's the
Absolutely.
same thing. We understand it. The
And that's
main
why I'm
scene go
calling
through
it
it. The
out,
Kiki
because
scene go through it. Absolutely.
Gillette will tell you, I call it out in our scene too. That's why I'm not the main. Trust me, Demi, I am not the mainstream scene's favorite girl.
But I do. I think. Excuse me. I'm going to ask Gunnar. Gunnar. So do you think Isaac, as a 35-year-old man,
34,
should not
34,
take a
34,
father position?
34.
So, I'm sorry, 34. You're fine. You're fine. If you're fine. Um, do you think that Isaac, as a 34-year-old man, should not take a father position in the Kiki Scene house that is designated to 25-year-olds, or do you think that he is well nourished enough in information to be a father to a 15 to 25-year-old?
I think that's layered. I think multiple things can be true at the same time. I don't think to say that he should or shouldn't take a father role. I do think that the kind of person he is, he's definitely someone who's equipped to be a father, whether it's Kiki scene or mainstream or of just gay children in general. But I will say this. I do think that, again, this is the power with titles and things of that nature. And I hold myself accountable because I wanted my title as founder and all of that too. Is that oftentimes we take on roles when if we say we want a role, we can have that role without having a title or adding something else to it where there needs to be another connection, right? Like a lot of times people say that they date older because he's gonna teach me, he's gonna guide me, and all this kind of wisdom you get from dating an older person. But couldn't they give you that same wisdom and not be fucking you? Right? Couldn't a 35-year-old be over in Kiki and be guiding kids and mentoring kids without having the title of father? Right, and that's not to say that Isaac shouldn't have it. Right, it goes back to the heart of why you say you're doing something. You can do these things that you want to do without needing power and titles attached to that. Because what I'm saying is, and again, I'm guilty of it. I'm a founder. I didn't pull my founder card. Trust me, I didn't pull my founder card in meetings. I've been a VP in corporate space. I didn't pull my VP card. Right, I done pulled my man card in spaces with females and women. Right, so we all do it and we're gonna do it. So my thing is, even on myself and just our community, is challenging where when we have an altruistic desire, but then we place things on it that we place structures around it that we know typically corrupt people, even with the best of intentions. That's all I'm
Demi, I
saying.
think I should answer some of that for you for myself. Um, when it comes down, it's the
But I
same.
think he's equipped. I want to reiterate, Isaac.
Thank
I
you,
think
Gunner.
you're equipped.
Um, I want the same thing that happened with the House of Chanel and Mainstream. Is basically the same thing with my Kiki house. All of the Versace's that were here when I got put into the house in New York City left, and I was the only Versace that was left in New York City. And it was all around. Everyone was saying that we closed, while I'm just walking around, just being the only Versace, getting called out for LSS as Isaac Versace, and I'm just like, at this point, if I'm staying here and I'm loyal to this house, there's no other fathers that are here, and I know what I'm capable of doing. So I would take that position and bring kids that I know. Like, I get what you're saying, Gunner, but it would be hard for me to just come into this and then not have a position, and I'm just a member, rather than me pulling members into my chapter and them knowing that I'm father and that I'm going to be able to guide
Right.
them because I have that position. So me being a father now, it's easy for me. Like, I recruited kids at well, like I said, we'll be debuting soon, but I've recruited kids at LeBain. I've recruited people all over the place that never even thought about joining ballroom. My girls that are coming out haven't even touched the floor yet. And
Right.
that's
Mine
where
either. I
my
just want you to know y'all not ready, but go ahead.
okay, because we can do what we got to do on the floor.
Go ahead.
What it, what I
Gillette, you
did
gonna
with my
report live?
strategy was just
Sure, why
like,
not?
pulling people that's never been in ballroom and showing them a whole different
Right.
type of skill and type of lifestyle. So yeah, that was my strategy with being father, and also wanting to take, help. I've been through some things in life. And it's certain things that I would like to tell people to avoid and, try to watch out for, so they don't have to go through the things that I've been in. For me, I think that's what a father is. So
Right.
I took that position.
Yeah, so I was gonna kind of agree, because like you said at the beginning, gonna like myself, I do come back to the Kiki scene, but I'm coming back to the Kiki scene and I'm like teaching and molding this and the third. So that's what I see him as. Like, he touched his feet in the main scene, he's a Chanel, he's a leader in Chanel. So now he's taking what he's learned and now he's, giving to others and now he's taking things that he's been through and trying to avoid for the others. So I definitely see him as a father and he's doing a great job. So
Thank you. I love you.
Right.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and that's the thing is like I get it, and it's when you're part of a system and also trying to take down a system. These things is nuanced and complex, right? Like
Yeah.
most of us probably kind of hate things about capitalism, yet at the same time we love going to work and getting paid so we can
No shit.
live good, right? You know what I'm saying? We hate gender hierarchies and racial hierarchies, but at the same time we still participate in them every day, right? So it's one of those things. It's just anybody that knows me and follows me, and I think Demi's been great. I love the combativeness. I found we got my one sis. She's at me. I
Yes.
love it. She's at my neck. I love it. But it's just it's that's the challenge. And again, my perspective. A lot of times, my tone nation and how I know I'm not necessarily as clear because I speak at a certain way or whatever the case may be. But it's always leading with love. And again, when I was saying those things about the Kiki, it wasn't like really to degrade them. It was just to say, y'all have this beautiful thing. Let me, as an elder, tell you some of the things that kind of destroys when you have a
Fuck
beautiful
it up.
thing. What can fuck it up, right? And then when it's like, no, we're not that, and then I start to see those things happen. I'm like, damn, they didn't let the snake into the garden, and they thought they only let in one snake, but they didn't know that their snake was 2 days pregnant.
Can I
oh,
have a question? I have a question.
And so it's coming in with other, it's coming in. Now you got 8 snakes in the garden, and the 8 snakes is making more snakes and making more snakes, and now you have an issue, right?
I
And
have a
so that,
question about the whole Kiki thing too as well. So there was a recent ball, the HMI ball. I think that's correct. I went there, and there were a lot of sponsors. There was Facebook. There was Nostrum. There was a bunch of sponsors, and this was some information I got from someone in mainstream, and it made me really think. The cash prize was for $5,000. And in the back of my head, I'm like, well, bitch, Facebook is a $1 billion company. Nostrum is a $1 billion company. All these companies are $1 billion companies. And your grand prize is $5,000. Now, for us who don't have money like that, that sounds like a lot. But for me, as someone as a businessman, that's not a lot when you have when you have billions and you're having these you're having these individuals walk these stages and put on this show for all these white people that's just watching and just getting their life. To me, no shade, it kind of gave back in the day when they would have slaves sitting up there and they would
Like
be
a
auctioning them
minstrel.
off. Yeah. And for me, it was just like, the pictures are great. The location is great. Everything is fab. Everybody can post a picture and say that they were there. But that $5,000, why are you not giving that to every single house that's in the Kiki scene and making sure that they're being provided with something for each house, whether it's school supplies, whether it's, funding for them to go to college? Why are we not supplying anything for all the houses and not making it such a competition amongst them and saying, oh, only this person won? So I wanted to know what would be your thoughts on that, especially you, Gunner.
Well, I think that's too much money for Kiki scene. Because again, the scene is for 13 to something like that. Like again, what if who legally is going to have some accountability for this 13-year-old that is now handed $5,000,
But no,
right?
it's not just for one person, it's for the house.
Or even that, what if that house is housed and fathered by a person that's 18 years old and most of their kids are young, right? Again, because of the age demographic of the scene, right? I just want to know who's going to have the legal best interest, right? Not even be responsible. There's some static going on. Is that me?
I don't know. I was sitting here trying to figure out whoever it is.
If I be quiet, mute me.
Y'all hear that?
Gillette, was it you?
Was it Gillette?
No.
No, I just heard. Is it Sasha? Oh,
Sasha, it was you, girl.
oh, Sasha Fierce. You was being real fierce.
It was you, girl. But
It was you, Sasha. You gonna have to exit and come back in or
No,
something
she,
good.
she
go
did.
ahead and finish, Gunna.
It's me. It's my
Um,
mic. I think somebody's trying to tap in.
Yeah, so again, I know a lot of times I talk a lot on these topics, but I think that's just because of the way I analyze things. I really try to analyze things at all the different levels from different angles. Um, Again, I look at the core of the Kiki scene and what it says it wants to be, right? It's this passion for youth. So what are you doing with youth prizes? If any child underage was going to any type of competition or being on a reality TV show or some competition, they would have to have some legal entity that looks out for the best interest, right? Who's protecting these kids? Yes, as a gay community, we're protecting them socially, right? We as LGBT in ballroom, we've shown up socially in ways to help the distraught, the burden, the kicked out, the whatever, the homeless, all those things. But there wasn't really a legal structure around it. But now that we're adding things like financial systems, you're adding sponsorships by billion-dollar companies, right? You start having to think about the legal side of what's going on. So that's just my kind of precursor on that. But more specifically to your question, I do believe there's a thin line between what you get paid for your art, getting paid your value, and not getting paid your value, which determines if it's art or if it's minstrel, right? If I'm having to do whatever I want to, if I'm having to do things with my art for your showmanship, for your laughter, for your enjoyment, to me at that point it becomes a minstrel. And I feel like because they know a lot of times these companies know that we're underfunded communities because shows like Pose and Legendary and things, they know that we're underfunded communities. They can offer us crumbs, but crumbs to a starving community can mean life or death. So they know they can do that, but we're not getting paid our value. So when we take those sums of money, that undervalued sum of money, we do kind of end up in this minstrelsy kind of like form. It's not our true art form. It's not really what ballroom is, but it's what gets the ratings. It's what does them. It's the yes, bitch, and the stealing of our language and the appropriation. So I do think that that happens more often than not in underrepresented communities like ours. So when you have companies like Facebook come in and they know this is a bastion of the last creative force on the earth that really just is untapped economically.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said this for over a decade. We have a multi-billion-dollar baby in our hands,
Yes,
right? We combine every industry that exists as a creative force. We combine it all for one night. We give you fashion, we give you music, we
definitely.
give you
Everything.
MC, we give you dance, we give you art, we give you
His
everything that you
mama
get
just
from
wrote a
any
book.
right. We give you everything in one night. And to harness that power and what we've been able to do we're multi-billion-dollar community, but we're very underfunded. We are the belly of the beast. All the throwaways, and not saying, not calling every one of us throwaways, and not saying it in a derogatory term, in the sense of mainstream community and society throwing us away and not holding us to value. A lot of us have collected in this pool of people who kind of have this, this same kind of life understanding. And so with that, we're very vulnerable. And you have these, we're in a time right now, just like we were with Madonna's Vogue and what that meant for us and what we thought Paris's Burner was going to mean for us. This is why a lot of people, even older than myself, are really skeptical of all of this shit that we're doing, the teaching the white people overseas and the going on the television shows, because they've seen all this before. They've seen industry show up. They've seen people say, hey, we're worth millions, and they're giving us change, and then walking away with what we got, and we're still left here to deal with all the reasons that brought us here after we've sold our intellectual property. And that's what we're doing, right? Think about it. When you look at television, a TV high school show is a TV high school show. I don't care if you add werewolves and vampires to it. I don't care if you add, a love story, make it black, make it white, make it interracial, whatever, right? A Great White Hope story is the same thing. A Sleepers in Seattle, same thing. Ballroom and what we do is like an untapped, not told story. They hadn't seen our story the way that they seen it until Pose came out. They hadn't got into who we are and what we go through and how we live our life until Legendary came out, right? So these are brand new stories that writers and producers have no intellectual property on. All three of us can sit here and write a coming of age story for a black boy. We all know that story, but not everybody in the world knows a ballroom story. So there's so much value in just our stories alone. Forget us actually doing the work and acting and throwing a ball with these companies. To even sit in a room and have a conversation with us should be hella expensive. Because what we know intuitively from being in our community and surviving for 40 years, what we know through just the multi layers of survival that we've gone through, which is the cocoon with the most pressure and the most volatility creates the brightest colored butterfly, right? Ballroom community has had to do with crack epidemic. We had to do with prison industrial complex. We have to do with being LGBT. We had to deal with HIV/AIDS crisis. We're having to now deal with obesity. We deal with everything that the regular world deals with on top of all the other shit. So with that, we just have like this beautiful story and art. We make beautiful, beautiful art. Art oftentimes comes from very painful places because you want a voice that's outside of your lived experience. You want to tell a story outside of your lived truth, right? When we think about when black people create art, music, and think of the Mary J's and stuff, a lot of good stuff, a lot of beautiful art. I wouldn't say good, but beautiful art comes from pain. And we're a very pain community. And so it hurts me. It irks my soul when I see these companies come in now and is giving $5,000. I'd rather you give me nothing. Just give us a fab ass venue, bitch. Deck it out. Let us come in there and do our motherfucking big one.
Okay, well,
when you start throwing money at me at that little
amount, let me interject on that. Okay, so the event was I think it was their it was their gala award, their gala award, something like that. It was like their award show, something like that. So basically, it's pretty much their fundraiser. It's a nonprofit organization. You know how they do fundraiser things like that. So pretty much with those high-end businesses being there, they still donated to the center of the space because that's their bread and butter, giving the people their supply. So Lady Gaga donated $1 million like to the door, but Facebook donates to HMI. The other place that you also mentioned donates there. So they, jazzed up the people. I do see it as like Gunna said.
But in terms of that though, sis, that's CBO, and you work for CBO, and my brother works for CBO.
I do see as what you said. But I don't see nothing wrong with them getting the money because they did work hard, and then they do take the money and they continue to invest it into the Kiki scene and to keep uplifting kids that that they need. They don't have to ask their main scene people for fabric or nothing like that. They can go to the person they want their $5,000 and get it.
And I agree with you. And we were just at Isaac's ball, right? We were just there with the center. My brother works in CBO. You work in CBO. So many people I love work in CBO, and CBO has done really great things for our community. Right? It's one of those things where again, multiple things can be true at the same time. I can appreciate and respect the CBO and what the CBO does, while also critiquing that ultimately by giving it to a CBO and not to the community, you're still paying a middleman for our art, right? If you pay a white record label owner for what Jay-Z is creating, he's still going to get a larger cut of what the artist gets. And that's where the pain and the work is coming from, right? So at least what I'm hearing from Isaac is, let's say they did get $1 million. You're right, they got $1 million. So only 5,000 of that went to the people that actually was able to make that $1 million come into the room. Less than
That
1%.
$1 million is broken down throughout the year to provide the services and.
But for this particular event tonight, y'all get millions of dollars, and you guys gave out 5,000. We are a broke community, and we give out $10,000 for face. You mean to tell me Facebook can only afford, and all them can give us? No, because here's the thing. And here's the other thing too. We got to understand. We also got to sometimes look outside of our bubbles to really kind of get a bigger picture of what's going on. When we look at things like all these other gamer bowls, where all these gamers from across the world come together and play games, baby, when these companies sponsor, it's bitch, they bought everyone PS5s. Everybody come in, they getting thousands of dollars. It's $1 million grand prize. All of that because that community has said, no, bitch, we get y'all views. People love watching gamers game. You gonna pay us, and because most of them are the right complexion for protection. But what I'm saying is, in our community, we have to realize. I'm not saying that we shouldn't take these gigs and do these things with these people, but at what cost and expense to us? Because if for one night they can give $1 million and $5,000 to the house, but from that they can bring all their camera crews, all their choreographers, all their photographers, all their executive producers, and all of them can sit in there and take notes, and then tomorrow go make a video for Lady Gaga and hire some 8 white girls and pay them $15,000 a piece to do exactly what we showed them the night before. I have an issue with us getting $5,000. We are a ministry at that point. We are tap dancing for their fodder.
I agree.
That's my issue.
I said I agree, Gunna.
Pay us our money. Either leave us the fuck alone or pay us our worth.
Look, I just gave the description of what.
I'm sorry. Y'all know I'm passionate about this community. I love our community.
What was the purpose of those people being there? They did have them a fab venue. I mean, they did, but I do agree with you. But damn, Gunna, stop slapping me up.
You know how I am about this community, sis. I know I'm misunderstood. I know the tone come across a little fierce and stuff, but I see so much value in us that a lot of times I get mad at us for not seeing it ourselves. And then I get called out because it's like, well, girl, you being fierce and you can't take it. Like, no, bitch, I'm telling you, you're more valuable than you telling the girls you are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not telling you should. I'm not saying you shouldn't be on Legendary.
No,
what I'm
Demi,
saying.
That's what we were talking
That's
about.
what we're talking about.
The Kiki scene. We were talking about. I'm not sure if you heard about it, but the HMI event where they had a gala and Facebook and Nostrum and all these people were sponsoring, and the grand prize to one of the houses was $5,000 that won. And I said it makes no sense that these are $1 million companies and you're putting out $5,000 for a house that's probably about 30, 40, 50 people in the house, and all you gave them was $5,000 when all these companies
give every person in that house $5,000.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Because here's the thing,
totally
you said
agree,
Nordstrom was there. Nordstrom was there. Guess who was there for Nordstrom? Their buyers were there. And guess what their buyers were doing? Looking at ballroom fashion. And guess what they're about to do? They're about to go tell their designers, oh, bitch, the kids is wearing these power shoulders, bitch. We need to see that. Or the girls is wearing opposite color gloves. We need to see that. Or that's what they're doing. They just came and just took all the intellectual property and said, here's $5,000. Girl, you can barely afford to go on a shopping spree in Nordstrom for $5,000. That's
the
one
same
gown.
thing that these shows like Pose does. And Gillette, we were on set. I already said it at the exhibit, so it is what it is. But like even us being on set at Pose, it's like you got all of us girls on your show. Like you got the fab girls in Ballroom on your fucking show. And knowing that we're gonna be on FX, but you got us sitting in the cold, eating some, little dibbits and giving us about $18 an hour.
I was in a cute dress and heels, and I was.
No, you look over. You look over.
Let's be clear.
You look
Let's
over.
be clear. HBO launched HBO Max app
Off of
off the
Legendary.
back of Legendary. Let's be fucking clear.
Sure
Yeah,
did.
it was the hottest show on there first. No
That was
shade.
the first when that
But they
app came
launched
out.
it off of
They
Legendary. In
launched
order
it.
Yeah,
That
they
before
was the
did.
launch
HBO
of
Max
the
came
app.
out, they were promoting it through Legendary. That's how they
But
did
you know
that.
what? I thought that I was gonna like
Our community
Legendary
fucking
by
launched an
the
app and we still sleeping on fucking sofas and shit. Like no, like
I thought I was really gonna like Legendary by the setup of this, of the preview. Before any of us who were not in
No, we love you,
Legendary.
Gillette.
I'm franchise.
Yeah, we love the originals on Legendary. I love all the houses on Legendary,
We love the
but I
T-shirts.
think that it's just not authentic no more. I thought it was gonna be
it was
fab.
never.
I thought it was gonna be like a real live ball on national television, and they giving a certain amount of. This is what I thought before I watched it, and when I watched the first episode, I made up my mind then that this is not something that I would want to participate in.
Let me give you a
I
little El
definitely now let me
Donato.
stop lying because I definitely did apply for all of the seasons.
So did I. And they
But
paid the
look,
fuck out of me. They very strategic on who they choose for this
but
show.
Yes,
let
they
me
are.
see, Demi. This what we was talking about earlier about how when you older, you see things a little sooner, a little fast. You might see a little differently, have a different perspective. See,
Mhm.
you still needed to see the first episode. I knew when they showed me that they was being judged, and only one judge came from the community from which they was judging, and all the other judges came from somewhere else. And no other reality game show is done that way. I already knew then they were not going to be authentic to us.
Well, no, I had seen Dominique Jackson in the promo. So I didn't think that it was going to be a whole complete lineup of different
No,
bitches.
by the time before it even showed the first episode, you pretty much knew it was only Naomi and then Dominique on an episode. Like we all knew that. Maybe you didn't see it, but I'm not saying that to be you my new buddy to go at you. Keep your foot on my neck, keep my foot on yours. But I'm
Absolutely.
just saying you should have already knew. Like this is the thing I be saying about I can already see when shit is gonna be fucked up before everybody else see that it's fucked up. Oh, I'm cutting up this paper.
But you know which show I did enjoy? While we're talking about shows that were designated about ballroom, I don't know if it was it PBS or was it PBS? I think it was PBS or CBS. It was one of the BSs. But it was not bullshit. I actually enjoyed it, and it was about the Kiki scene, or whatever. I enjoyed it. I think it was on Fox, maybe. I don't know which show it was on. I know it was on the
The
major
FX
network.
show was it the show with Precious?
My house?
No, not My House. I didn't enjoy that. They could have kept that.
Are
They
you
could have
talking
really
about them
kept that.
being peer kids?
The Peer Kids. Yeah, I live for that one because it was more
Oh, I
authentic,
haven't
more a
seen
little
that
bit
one.
And those
raw,
are
more a
people
little bit.
the people that made that are people that, have been involved in the scene.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think that's why I liked it more, because it transpired very beautifully. It wasn't watched as much as the other ones, but I didn't
I have
like
to give
My
it a look.
House or any of the other ones.
I hadn't heard of it. I have to give it a look. Is it documentary style or is it like
It's a little bit of
television?
both, but mostly
Because I will
documentary.
say I also am to the point. I really one of the things that I loved about Pose, for instance. I mean, there's plenty of critiques. I'm well documented on going live about that show as well. But one of the things I did like about that show, as opposed to pretty much any other thing that we've ever seen about Ballroom, is that it showed up in the form of regular drama television. And when you study media and things of that nature, you realize, like when you have documentaries and when you have those kind of things, it feels anthological. It feels scientific. When you're watching something about a community, like you're watching it as an inspection of, versus when you watch like drama television shows about, doctors and lawyers and being, Orange is the New Black and shows like that, you empathize because you start to see life through other people's truths, right? So it humanizes you in a way. I think Pose humanized Ballroom in a way a lot better than any other show that's ever been about us because it showed Ballroom existing while everything else in our life existed as
What's
well.
going on? Absolutely.
It wasn't like, ooh, hey, we are now towering over the house of Valencia, and we are going to now inspect their members. Look at that one. That one over there's a trans person, and that one over there is homeless, and he sleeps at the pier. Like that's what a lot of the documentaries and stuff kind of feel like
That's
after
what
a
it
while.
is.
That's what it feels like after a
Okay, well,
while.
since we're on the topic of movies, can I ask you guys a question? Have you guys seen ever, since we're talking about the media using us and you know, using us in their different perspectives and things. I just wanted to know, have you guys heard anything about Super Bitch and an update about what's going on with Destiny, then Balmain, now West, playing the Super Bitch character? Have we heard anything about that? Like, what's going on with that? Like, I was really interested in that. That was like 4 years ago. Haven't heard anything.
I
They
haven't heard.
give no. Let me shut up. Go ahead.
I mean, do you know something proprietary? I mean, I haven't heard anything.
Yeah,
I was looking
and you know
forward to that,
sometimes it
but
takes time to build things. You never know.
I mean, I was looking forward to seeing that. I mean, Demi, kind of to your point about and what we've been talking about, kind of like the ministry and selling itself out. Again, to me, that's the difference, right? When even going back, tying all of our conversations to the first conversation about gimmick, right? That could be perceived as a gimmick, but knowing Super Bitch and knowing that like he created that character, he did that. That was his
And
artistry,
they're
right?
taking away from his shit, and that's what a problem. They're using it as a ploy. I don't know if you see when they had Super Bitch on Comedy Central.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such like it was a joke. I mean, granted, it's a comedy,
Mm-hmm.
a comedy show, but what it gave me is when they used to make fun of us on in Living Color and these other
Men on
shows.
Absolutely.
films.
It gave a new age of that, of them making fun of, but not honing in to Destiny's talent and what he can do on the floor, but just the fact that this gay black male has pink boots on and is hopping and jumping around. They made it into a joke rather than honing in on that talent. And that's where the problem is, where I had to catch myself from saying anything. Because yes, if they were working on the movie, like I said, with I'm working on a short film right now, and the director is taking a while, and I had to explain to her, when you have a momentum going up, you want to keep going with that. You don't want to fall off and then 4 years later the shit comes out. You want to make sure that if I was on Comedy Central, probably a month later or 2 months later the movie comes out. This is stuff that Beyonce and the Rihanna's do. So whatever they were going to do with Destiny, I'm sorry, it's falling off at this point.
And you know,
Yeah.
another thing, I just a lot of people in ballroom are approached with, and it bothers me that a lot of people in ballroom, when they're approached with these amazing opportunities, and nothing, I will say that they're amazing because it's not like anything you ever done. You know, you're just being your natural self, and I'm not just talking about Destiny. I'm talking about a lot of these bitches.
Mm-hmm.
They're approached with these opportunities, and they're dressed up so well, like tuxedo, suit and tie, high heels, red bottoms, you know. So the girls is looking at it like, oh shit, bitch, I'm about to be a celebrity. But in actuality, you're actually becoming a sellout. And you don't even know it. You don't even realize it until it's too late. And sometimes they don't even realize it. And I think it's very sad because you work so hard to be a part of this community and build a name for yourself when you came from nothing, didn't have anything to then be someone else's puppet. Um, I just think that's what a lot of the girls do because they just want a way out. And sometimes the way out ain't the way. No shade.
And this
But
is where
Sometimes
you
that
need to
path
have
wasn't
the
even for
leaders
you to
step
walk.
out and tell them how
I
to.
also think that it's almost kind of pathological amongst Black creatives because I think we naturally, from just the source of who we are, create. And we we just create. That's what we do. Create a civilization. We create art. We create architecture. We just create. From Black bodies comes all this creation, but we don't create it with the intent of hierarchy and greed and commodification and capitalization, right? So we don't create it with thinking about those structures being in place. So when someone comes up and says, "Oh, I'm willing to offer you this," usually we're not even prepared to have that conversation, right? When they were first creating hip hop, when they were just rapping, in Queens, they weren't thinking about one day Jay-Z is gonna have title. They were just on the block like, yo, we're trying, we out here, we cold, we starving, we need something to do to pass the time while we wait for the people to come down buy our drugs, X, Y, and Z. They were just out there surviving. When we created Ballroom, we were just, I need a voice. I need a space where I feel seen. We had the Harlem Renaissance. Black people just wanted a space where they felt seen. When we made jazz, when we do that, this is what happens. So what happens on top of that, I think that's another reason why white supremacy likes to keep us Black people where we are, because we remain this vulnerable creation machine. Remember what I said earlier? Like from pain comes beautiful, comes beauty, comes art. As long as you keep Black people in a painful state, we are going to continue to find a way to create a voice and make sure that we're seen and that our history and our legacies continue. And they're going to keep being able to capitalize off of it and buy it for cheap. Because we're not going to stop being who we are at our core, which are creatives, right? If we didn't have ballroom, we would be doing something else. When they didn't have jazz, they created, the house music. When they didn't have that, they created hip hop. When we didn't have that, we created Appalachian country. We created braids to tell stories. We created folklore songs. We created gospel music. Like we created authentic food from garbage. You know what I'm saying? We created the
Come
only true
on.
authentic American food. Like this is what we do. We created ballroom. Black LGBT people were not seen, and they created a space to be seen. This is what we do. And what happens is when we can remove ourselves back and get to a space where even within ballroom community we can see ourselves as a larger, longer lineage of Black collectives. That's how we will be better equipped to make sure what we have isn't taken from us. That's when we will know the value of what we have. And when people and if we don't, because here's the thing about it. This is how I try to explain it to people. They're like, well, what if I don't take this opportunity? If you don't take this opportunity, we still have ballroom intact, and you're still doing what you were doing happily to begin with anyway. But if you take this money, you sell out the thing that we've spent 5 decades creating, and you still end up in pain because $5,000 ain't taking no Black ghetto ain't no taking no Black person out of poverty that we in. And I'm not
No
saying
shade.
poverty like derelict, like in the greater scheme of things, I don't there's not too many wealthy people in ballroom in period. Right. We don't have a bunch of millionaires walking around. So even if some of us are living nicely, got apartments and stuff, still $5,000 ain't changing our life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So what did we gain as a community for that $5,000?
No
Right?
shade. And speaking on that, I just want to say shout out to Honey Balenciaga for turning down the movie deal that you were offered because they wanted you to play a trans woman. I think that was very commendable of you. And a lot of people in this community probably would have took it. You know what I'm saying?
Go off,
Depending
honey,
on how
for
much
that.
money they offered to be on TV. But I thank you from our community, from my community, from the LGBT, but mostly
Wow.
from the T community because we appreciate that we're
Wow.
tired of seeing that. So I appreciate that, honey. No
Work, honey.
shading. You wouldn't have been a cute
Work.
femme queen anyway. No shade.
Work.
I
Work.
think
That's
we
I
need to
over.
just
get
played.
into
I just played.
I think we need to get into a space in ballroom where we realize that we already have the money in our hands already. We're looking at this paper that we're waiting for these corporations to give us. But one thing I'm trying to get everyone in ballroom to understand, and I'm doing right now for myself with people that I'm working with, like Gillette, yourself, Gunner, there are a lot of videographers, there are a lot of photographers, there are let's link the fuck up and create our own shit. And if somebody want to buy our shit, we're going to make sure that the contracts are correct, that the money is correct, and that it's going to actually um come directly to us rather than them. And I think that's what I'm not seeing with ballroom at this current moment. We're going to the FX and using their camera people. We on set and the camera people don't even know half of these people, and they just getting whatever angles they think that they want to get. If I shoot you, same thing that you heard that Snooki said on that mic. When I shoot you, if the picture is not good, the picture is not coming out. You can ask me as many times, oh, did you take pictures of me? It's not coming out if it's not good. We need to get to a point where all of us are linking up and creating our own content and putting it out there and making sure those funds are coming to the community.
Isaac, are you single?
I'm dating myself at this current moment.
Okay, well, whenever you're done with that, just saying.
You did,
No,
you
no,
Um,
did.
look, Demi,
Yes.
this is how you gotta follow up. See, you're supposed to follow up. Well, how are you with polyamory?
Yes.
You can date yourself and me.
Can you do
okay,
three?
Are you open to,
okay,
are
no
you
Y'all,
only
shade.
monogamous?
yes.
Okay.
So this has been fun. We've had like this 2 hours. We like doing 2 hours here, Ghana.
It seemed like the 2 hour mark is about our equilibrium.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because sometimes the hour and a half we feel like we're trying to rush it in, but the 2 hour after about this time, me and you start texting each other like, okay, so what are we doing? So I think 2 hours is kind of turning out to be
Yeah.
it's our sweet spot.
No, and also our special guests always seem to stay. We always tell them, you can No, what they say. But we also want to welcome Demi to the family as a new
Work,
cast
Welcome,
Demi.
Demi.
member.
Yes.
Thank
You
you.
I
really
voted yes, but you must keep your foot on my neck.
you did your
No,
big
you
one
did
tonight.
Absolutely.
that.
Was really appreciative. I did a step back and let you step up, and you really did your thing. So I appreciate it. So yeah.
All right, let me do my tagline again. Yo, I am the thing of the things and nothing in between. I'm definitely the girl in the motherfucking picture. Better than the one that's with you. And you bitches already know the vibe. Make sure y'all follow me on all social media platforms at I am the I underscore am because I am that girl. No shade. So make sure y'all follow me. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram and all of those good things. And again, thank y'all for having me. And thank y'all for considering me. I really appreciate it. No shade. And I
Oh
say,
yeah, can y'all just real quick
yeah.
follow me on Instagram? My handle name is Mood is Black, exactly how it's spelled. Mood is Black. William Lockhart on Facebook, or if that has too many friends, you can go to William Isaac Chanel, which is my other profile. So yeah, follow me.
And y'all know me again. I'm always here for the shit. I am the icon Gunner. You can go to, as the website is going to come the bottom of the screen, gunnerdoyle.com.
Work
I
that.
am doing a 25% off, or 15% off, not 25, 15% off coupon right now is DEC for December dot drip. So there's DEC dot drip, and that will get you 15% off. I'm actually wearing one of the shirts. This is a limited edition shirt. It's only going to have 28 units. Four of them are already sold, so we're down to 24 more. That's on the website. So if you get that now, you can use a coupon for that as well. I will be dropping more drip in the coming weeks. Yeah, this brand thing is full fledged, so definitely. Also, you can check me out on Instagram, Facebook, all the other shits where I really talk my shit. But if you really want to support, like and share my website.
Also here on Tea Time, we're going to theme December the 11th National. What we said it was going to be?
International Ballroom Day.
International Ballroom Day because there's so many balls happening that day. There's a ball in Paris. There's a ball in Chicago. There's a ball in Philly. There's a
There's a
ball
ball
in
in LA.
LA. So if get out there, girls.
It's ballroom.
It's
Go have a
Ballroom
ball.
Day. So
It's
every
so much money, you could go home with some money. No shade. It's
yes, it's
really
December
ridiculous.
11th. It is national. It's in International Ballroom Day. We deemed it here on Tea Time. So get out there and do y'all things, honey. Get y'all money. But
Get your
does anyone
thing.
have any ballroom information? Any balls that's coming up? I do know that the New Jersey Kiki Forest will be having their Ribbon of Love ball, which will be December the 11th. One of their grand prizes is gender nonconforming best dress. You have to bring it like one of Billy Porter's looks. So that's December 11th, Ribbon of Love. That's their World AIDS Day ball here in New Jersey, which will be in Newark at the Rutgers University Center, and I think that's the Exits room.
Well, in South Jersey, in Trenton, New Jersey, new father, Isaiah, Isaiah, Isaac, Versace. Hopefully you take this back to your kids. But in on December the 17th in Trenton, New Jersey, is the Christmas Mayhem Ball, where the grand prize is $1,000 Film Queen Performance Team, and the second grand prize is $500 best dress. And then also the day after that in North Carolina is mainstream is the State of the Culture Ball, where the grand prize category is $1,000 commentator versus commentator. Catch me. Make sure you guys come out for that as well. Absolutely.
And in Philly, we have Royalty Ball Part 2, hosted by Marquise and Bria, both legendary Marquise. I'm sorry, legendary Marquise icon Bria. Lots of cash given out. It's gonna be, let's see, shit. Hold on, damn, I was just there. It's $3,000. Oh shit. Okay. Sorry. $3,000 Film Queen Perfect Tens. $2,000 Best Man in Honor. It's a realness category. 1,000 Vogue Film. 1,000 Female Figure Performance. 500 Best Dress. 500 Runway. 500 Foot and Eye. And yours truly will be making his return to the floor.
Oh,
I'm telling the girls, have your thing. Because
oh,
the undisputed Gunnar Tishi, Foot and Eye legend, will be returning to the floor this night. But no, realness. So yeah, it's a lot of money to be made. I stand behind Bria and Marquise. They thrown good. Marquise, especially, he's throwing really good balls in Philly. Definitely get out there. Then there is the in California, they're having the shit. What is the name of the ball? The Openness Ball. The Openness Ball. Every category at the ball is 1,000 or more.
Yeah.
So it's money to be made in the
Also,
scene if money's your thing.
Also in Paris, the legendary Arturo and Charlie Brown, that's his new house, the House of Brown, will be having their back to 90s ball. They just now made legendary performance 500 euros. What?
I'm sorry. It's like when I was like things have meanings to something that has meaning to us as a community, as a culture, may not have meaning other places. So I wonder if he understands naming himself the House of Brown and his name being Charlie, and then in America, like that's a cartoon character, Charlie Brown. I'm sorry.
I think it's Gautier something Brown.
Yes, Gautier Brown.
Okay, but and the thing is, over there, it might not even have any meaning. It could not even mean that at all. But colloquially, when you said that, first thing I thought was
Charlie Brown.
I was like, that's a Kiki house, bitch. The house of Charlie Brown.
It's the Back to the 90s ball. It's December the 11th. They just now added 500 euros to legendary performance. I will be there. You can catch my master class, which will be December the 10th. If you happen to be overseas, you can come through and get your lesson or two. I will also be in London that Monday, and I'll also be in Welsh, UK that day, and I'll also be in Greece that Tuesday. So if you want to come and get you some lessons, please come through. But I'll be international during the International Ball Day.
I'll be down the street in Philly.
I will be in New Jersey.
I'll be down the street from you.
Gillette, so if you need some pictures for your class, I may be out there.
Oh, you'll be there?
Look at that! Look at God!
Oh, that's gonna be fun. All right, y'all. So we're over time, and we're just over here boasting and bragging where we're gonna be. Just note that you're gonna catch somebody from the cast here from Tea Time. You'll catch our special guest host out and about, maybe in Europe. But we're outie. We're getting tiredy.
Okay.
Also, dearly, Demi is giving, girl. It's time to go.
Yes, I'm ready to smoke.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys for coming. Thank you and welcome, Demi. I've appreciated you.
Yes.
Isaac,
ready.
hopefully, Isaac, make sure you get my information. I'm really going to be looking forward to you taking me out on a date or something here in the up and coming weeks. My birthday is coming up in January 5th, and I don't have a date. So, hopefully, if it's not you, hopefully you can find me somebody, like you.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
And also remember, 24 more days to my birthday. We're outie.
Capricorn season.